Let's go. What is going on, everyone? Welcome, Goglings, Gogorifics, Gog peoples of the world, unite. It is really good to see everybody. Genuinely, I am very happy to see you all. I hope that everyone is doing well. I hope you folks had a lovely holiday. It has been an intriguing holiday, I would say, for me. I wouldn't necessarily classify it as amazing, but I'll explain very briefly in just a minute as to why. But it was, it was a holiday. It was a thing. And we are here now. So happy holidays, first of all, to everybody. Merry Christmas, Happy Hanukkah, etc. to all who celebrate. Happy Kwanzaa, Festivus, etc. for all who celebrate. And happy holiday season in general. And happy New Year as well, because the next time I speak to you folks after today's session will not be until 2023, so I won't see you till next year after we're done here. But the time now has come, chat, for D&D with GOG, Ghosts of Saltmarsh, our final D&D session, in fact, our final tabletop role-playing session of the year on this channel, which is, it's been pretty exciting to see what an amazing year it's been. But just before I get there, a couple of quick reminders about ways to support us here on GOG.com. If you haven't done so already, please follow the channel. Please check out as well. Please subscribe to us here on GOG.com's channel. You get those custom sub badges and emotes to use everywhere across Twitch, DRM free, of course. And if you haven't already done so, please click through to our individual channels because we have our own subsystems and Patreons and things like that to consider as well. Last thing that I want to mention, well, actually, no, I'm not going to mention that. I'm going to just unmute myself and let the folks know that we're ready to go. They know that I was talking their ear off about something I was very excited about a moment before, and because they're incredibly nice people, were incredibly indulgent of me. So now I'm going to head over there and head over to reveal the incredible GOG.com crew. And I will say, before I introduce these lovely, happy, shiny people, first of all, happy belated birthday, although I did wish him on the dime, but happy belated birthday to Darksaber. That's the first thing. Happy holidays to all of them. I will say to chat, by the way, in case people were curious, because a couple folks had asked over on my channel, the reason that I did not stream on the last few days is that I was finally caught by the beast of COVID on Friday. And as a aside, it looks like it probably happened when I was getting my usual 6-month checkup at the dentist, which, to be clear, is not a place that you can very easily mask as the patient. So I just want to be clear that that's a little annoying that that's how it went down. So I've been sick in bed the last few days, feeling much better today, although, not all the way back. So I apologize in advance for a few stray coughs and an occasional nose blowing situation. But otherwise, I am feeling better. I would like to take this chance to give a public service announcement to the folks on GOG as well, though. You are all an incredibly smart, intelligent audience. That's why you all support DRM free. May I also recommend that that's why you should support vaccinations vaccination. If you haven't done so already, the reason that I'm speaking to you now and not probably in the hospital, let's say, is because I was fully vaccinated and boosted. So please, 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 for you, for your families, for your loved ones, most of all, because I want to see all of you lovely people in chat. And I want to make sure that there are no missing names on those lists when we do these sessions. So please get your vaccinations. I am enormously thankful and grateful to the scientists and so on and researchers who made it possible for this to be not fun, but not horrifically serious. And that was because of that experience. So with that said, as I remain here in recovery, I don't have to mask around all these lovely people because of the power of the internet. And I can now introduce our wonderful crew that are all look at this, just happy, shiny, ready to fight massive crocodiles. This is a good crew of people. They're ready. And we will start, of course, with, now I can't, now, you know, Pyron, I was trying to look and see, I was like, what is it? Is it the hairstyle slightly different or the headphones or like, but I think that I've concluded that it's actually just that you have a different mic stand. No, I'm just kidding. Amazing lighting. Wow. The lighting, right? Chat. Can we just say the lighting is just incredible. Like I can't even, that's just, right. Amazing. Pyron, how are you? It's good to see you. I hope all is well. Looks very good. Amazing lighting system. How are you? Happy holidays. How is everything for you? And yeah, how are you feeling about your lighting? Do you feel it's opened up a whole new vista for you now that you have this light?
So, hello chat people. Yes, my sister gifted me a ring light and it has like options. And of course, I needed to play around with it just when we went live. And I was like, hey, maybe I can move my camera a little bit here. And now it's the ring light is in the way. But look, chat, it has like different lightings. Have a look.
Ooh.
Yeah.
That latter one looks like you ought to be doing like a John Denver. If you could just do that other light and then just every time Wave steps forward, just start singing, you know, imitating on the Kenku, you fill up my senses, like a nice 70s, you know, perfect light for that.
So yeah,
looks great.
What was the question again?
I was just asking how your holidays were and if you felt good about the lighting system that you had. Well, I guess were you excited about the new lights?
Sorry, yes. I'm a bit scatterbrained because, well, with two kids and also my grandparents who are a bit over 90 still alive, it was a bit stressful, but it was wonderful. It was a really great Christmas. So that's nice. And I'm playing Waves Crashing Against Rocks, and I do have my soundboard set up. So her name is... It's working again.
Yep.
Yeah!
The full sound, not cut off or anything.
Yes! I'm getting like, finally, like after, I don't know, 5 or 7 years of streaming, I have a ring light, I have got, it's just, I'm a bit slow on this, but I'm getting there, And she is a Kenku Paladin, so that is pretty cool. And I think right now she's standing in front of a giant crocodile or something, so... we'll see how this goes.
Sounds about right. Also, there has been a request in chat. They say that they like the John Denver light. So, you know, just consider, you know, that was the orangish. That was the orangish one. The John Denver, you know, 70s singer, you know, like. No, I understand. Fine. Listen.
Okay.
Someone's got to.
Big Boss asked, the name is Wave Splash. Yeah. So Kenkus have sounds as names. So her name is. Waves Crashing Against Rocks.
It literally is Wave Splash. When we first met her and Pyron was explaining this, Big Boss, I was like, okay, so it's waves crashing. And Pyron was like, well, no, that's the written form, but it really is whoosh. I was like, okay, well, that's what it is. So yeah, now we have the full soundboard. Do you spell that with a P? You have emphasis on the whoosh. Anyway, it's a pleasure to have Pyron with us. Thank you, Pyron, as always. Again, Saber, happy birthday. It was a lot of fun. By the way, you folks, if you have not followed Saber, you should absolutely do it. It was really entertaining watching Saber run through a bunch of awesome games yesterday, including a couple that I had never heard of. And I was like, how did I never hear of this game? Which I think it was, I'd heard of Evo, but what was the game that you were playing?
The Mega Drive Zelda one.
Yeah.
Yeah, Soleil, or if you're in
Soleil.
the US, Crusader
I've never
of
heard of that.
Crusader of Light. It's over there.
Was it a UK thing? Is that why?
It's called Soleil in Europe. It was called Crusader of Senti in the US. And
never heard
it's
of it
one of the
either.
best Mega Drive games you never
so
hear anyone
good.
talk about.
It's
got
so
just the soundtrack alone, but like you collect all the different animals and they've all got different abilities. Like you can throw your sword, and if you have a penguin, your sword then is also got ice damage and things like that. If
looked
you've got
really
a flying
cool. I had
squirrel,
never
your
heard of
sword
it.
bounces.
I was like,
yeah.
so anyway, it was cool. You should definitely follow Saber. So Saber, how does it feel to be a year older now? Now that you've reached a year, you're now the master of all you survey. How does that feel, and who are you playing today?
Well, I'm 39, so I've got all that coming next year. I do
Already had it a decade plus ago, my friend.
yeah. I do want to show this. I saw this yesterday. I got this for my birthday,
so cool.
which is amazing. It's called Dice Men: The Origin Story of Games Workshop by Ian Livingston and Steve Jackson, who founded the studio. They founded Fighting Fantasy, Citadel Miniatures, Warhammer 40,000, Talisman,
Chainsaw Warrior. I got right
Chainsaw
back there.
Warrior. All of
that. I got
hugely
freaking,
influential.
the Warlock
So
of Firetop Mountain board game. I don't know if you knew about that one, but there is a Warlock of Firetop Mountain board game, which I also own, back when Games Workshop did anything other than Warhammer.
They did a Judge Dredd board game.
Right.
Which
Yeah,
has
yeah. They
just
did a
been
lot of
re-released,
stuff
apparently.
back in the day. Yeah.
Yeah. So I'm looking forward to reading through that and just getting all nostalgic. And other than that, yeah, I'm still picking through leftovers. I've got a little plate I'll be dipping into as we usually someone else gets mauled by a crocodile. I'll be standing back and eating cheese. I should say Morthwil will be stepping back, and I'll be eating cheese.
Right, because I imagine Morth would be like, well, I guess I've got to actually help him, and you'll be like, yes you do, cheddar. But
would you like some temporary hit points?
Exactly, to go with this delicious cheese I'm eating. Always a pleasure, Saber. Thank you. Looking forward to seeing how Morthwil handles things tonight. Also looking forward to seeing how Silvo handles things tonight with the incredible peripheral mic. And I gotta say, Mike, didn't mention this before, I'm digging the shirt. I often refer to Saber shirts, but I'm digging the shirt today. It's solid
Thank
stuff. I like it. I like the aesthetic. How are you doing today? We found out today from Mike that this is the first time that he's actually sat at this seat doing this since the last time we played. So basically, we turned off the lights and Mike just went and then
pretty much, yeah.
To go back and start. How are you doing, Mike?
I'm just wires from the waist down. That's all it is.
Yeah, seriously.
I'm like a Johnny 5, just for streaming purposes.
No, Johnny 5.
Oh no, Johnny. No, sorry, not Johnny 5. Johnny Cab. That's what I'm thinking of.
I was gonna say, I was like,
Johnny
I don't remember that part of Johnny.
No,
5.
Johnny Cab from Total Recall. There's just constantly. This isn't even a real chair.
Yeah.
I'm just on a pivot. That's it. Anyway, I hope you enjoyed the ride. So yeah, holidays has been good. To be honest with you, it's been very chill. I'm currently doing exactly the same thing as Saber, and I'm going through the box of leftovers. But mine's leftover chocolate, so I'm going to feel very sick for a bit during this fight. Hopefully not, because I'm going to be inside the belly of a croc, or rather Silvo is not going to be inside the belly of a crocodile because he's allergic to being dead. He's not a fan. But today I'm going to be playing as Silvo Janus Betulus. I've forgotten what he is. He's a half-elven sorcerer, aberrant mind sorcerer, who has some modicum of possible control over some of his magic sometimes, and that's about as solid as you can get with that. Although what I will say is, if you haven't followed the other streamers on this channel already, definitely go and do it. I personally watch them in my spare time, obviously not over the last couple of weeks because Christmas and stuff like that, but I've already queued up Darksaber's retro birthday rampage time, 6 hours and 41 minutes of retro gaming goodness. I'm so looking forward to that. That's my tomorrow sorted. So yeah, that's me. I hope you're all doing absolutely fantastically, whether you celebrate Christmas or you're just spending time with family or however you want to spend the holiday season. I hope you're having a wonderful time.
Awesome. Thanks, Mike. And thank you, by the way, for the sub Effect Life. Didn't miss anything yet. Got distracted playing some Catan with your parents. Totally understandable. I hope you successfully managed to barter them out of all of their sheep and wood, or something the equivalent. But welcome here. Very good stuff. And also thanks for the follow for folks. Welcome to the DRM free community. Thank you, Mike. Awesome. Can't wait to see what happens with Silvo today with the crocodile. Moving right down the line, we have, of course, the amazing Ananda. I had the chance to watch a little bit of Ananda during my continued convalescence when not watching Saber. Saber. I watched a little bit of Ananda earlier on playing some Skyrim, which was always a good time. Basically, what happens is that when I either have work in the background or I happen to be sick, which is not often, thankfully, but when those things happen, I'm always just like, okay, who of my friends, which cool people is and then I can find them to go stream. So I was watching with interest as Ananda was playing Skyrim stuff and all that sort of thing, which struck me as somehow was slightly lower key than all of the Dark Souls stuff, Ananda, that you've been doing. I was just kind of like, wow, Skyrim is such a relaxing stroll in comparison to Dark Souls. How are you doing? How has your holiday been? And who are you playing today?
Skyrim is definitely more relaxing than Dark Souls 3, can confirm. My holidays full of ups and downs a bit. I won't go into too many details, but yeah, peaks and troughs. But on the whole, we made it out the other side, and with full bellies and yeah,
that's positive.
I had a good time, thank you. But yeah, recently I've just been trying to get on top of things, and I do apologize if I seem a bit sleepy. It's because I am. Today though, I am playing Brian the Bloodthirsty, who's a water genasi fighter pirate. She's full of good intentions that don't always happen the way that she envisages. However, we're now faced with a very, very large crocodile. And Brian's a little bit shell-shocked by the sheer size of this crocodile at the moment, but looking forward to seeing how this pans out. I also am allergic to death, so let's see if we can get away from it.
I'm excited. I am also excited to see how this happens, and so is the crocodile, as we will talk more about. Incidentally, quick note on that just before I get to Fleos, which is that I realized, ironically or not, or for some reason, it just occurred to me. I'm editing my sequel to Grey Shade, which is coming out next year, and I am literally in the middle of a section where there was recently a fight against a very crocodile-like creature in a marsh. I don't know why it happened that way, I swear to God. But one of the things I realized in making it is that I had way underrated the actual size of the beast. And I have a feeling that I underrated the size of this beast also, because I looked it up, and the American crocodile can run up to about 16 feet long, and this dude is longer than that. So if I said last time that he was 8 feet, and I was like, that sounds pretty badass, I'm here to tell you it's not that badass, actually. However, the 18-foot crocodile that he actually is, that's more badass. So let's be clear, that's what we're actually dealing with. I'm excited to see how Brian and company handles things, but I'm also excited first to introduce, of course, someone we've had now twice in a row, which has been amazing. Actually, I think 3 out of 4 sessions, if I've got this right, of Saltmarsh have just kind of synced up for your schedule, Fleos, which is awesome. So, so welcome, my friend. Again, happy holidays to you. How's everything been with you? How was your holiday season with your lovely family and so on? And who are you playing today?
Well, thank you. Thank you for having me. It has been 3 out of 4, which I didn't realize. It's exciting.
It's good.
Love being here. So, the party was making up a plan. Oceanus may just happen to be the bait for the seasick crocodile or whatever. Just if one party member has to maybe not make it through the session, it might just be the one whose player can't make it to the next session. Things have been good. The kids have been very excited for Christmas and very poorly behaved, more so than usual. But I think that's probably normal. I don't know. They're at that age, but it was good. I've got myself a Terry's chocolate orange here, which I've been enjoying. I
got one over there that Dragonspear sent me. Nice.
So,
a delicacy, a man of taste, I see.
Yes, sir. Yes, sir.
What is that?
It's just orange flavored chocolate.
That literally is shaped as an orange too. Like you
it's
take
shaped
out
as an orange.
orange
That's the fun
pieces.
thing. Sorry, I've already eaten half of it, so it's not as exciting.
Take a sledgehammer to it to get it started.
Yeah, so
basically every piece
smashing it on the kitchen counter.
Every piece is 150% grams of sugar for the day. Like every little sliver.
True.
Yeah.
So it comes in kind of an orange shape. It's a full orange, all attached together. And you slam it against a hard surface, and it cracks open into these orange slices that are chocolate in there.
Are there full chocolate, or is there jelly orange substance?
No. I don't even.
Just solid chocolate orange.
Full chocolate.
Solid
full milk
orange
chocolate.
chocolate.
And I don't even love orange flavored chocolate that much, but this chocolate is so good that I'm like, well, yeah, dark chocolate is good.
I like that most of us are eating chocolate now.
Yes. Sorry, Nando.
Yeah, sorry.
And I had orange.
Oh, and you have an orange
Caramel cheesecake and cream for later as well.
By your powers combined, I am Terry's.
And I had a satsuma, so I'm bringing the orange part.
Oh,
Cool.
nice.
You're eating healthy.
Fantastic. So yeah, I've been okay. The last
Got a
day of
lemon and
work,
lime drink.
Hey,
That's-
yeah, there you
it's
go.
almost
Join the
an
pie.
orange. I had a tickle in my throat, and I'm like, "Are you serious?" So I've been sick for the last couple of days,
Oh,
but apparently it's not COVID. I just feel like crap. So it's you know that's the holidays. I feel like as a teacher especially.
I was gonna say,
So
yep, I know that feel. Teacher and with kids. That's
Yeah.
Yep. You're
how
the
many
final.
petri dishes can I stick my face in?
Oh my God! It must mean that our immune systems, by the time they're all grown up, though, must be just like unstoppable. Just what like go ahead and send any like gamma radiation Hulk stuff. Oh, get out of here! Like
You're where the vaccines come from.
yeah, right. Exactly.
That's where they come from.
You're
Just
patient
like, right,
zero. Like what?
Round
Really?
round of the teacher. We've got another pandemic. Round of the teachers.
Yeah, seriously. No, it's a great pleasure to have Fleos with us as always, and I am very excited to have this whole crew back. And I do want to mention one thing to the party as a whole. We are going to be involved in a big fight against a crocodile. I'll explain that. Not a super long recap because it was a fairly clear, straight-ahead session last time, but I do want to mention one thing, which is they are about to face the ancient crocodile known as Thousand Teeth, which is named that by the lizard folk of this marsh. The party is attempting to destroy this beast because it would bring, first of all, great renown to the party, but much more importantly, from their point of view, it would bring great respect to them as humans and would allow the lizard folk to back the alliance that they are trying to broker with the queen of the lizard folk, who wants this alliance, and would help her to outmaneuver her political rivals among the lizard folk that are not so wild about allying with outside races. And this is a big alliance that's being assembled. It's an alliance that's being assembled with multiple oceanic races, including possibly the sea elves. And it's that and some of the land. And if the land folk, like humans, could be brought on board to face a much more dangerous threat, the Sahuagin, who have become a much more apparently organized force than ever before, then perhaps the party can not only help the lizard folk, but can also help Saltmarsh end up being caught in a pincer between the Sahuagin on the one side and the lizard folk on the other, which is not something that Saltmarsh would be likely to survive. And so the party is attempting to do this for the benefit of all the good peoples, et cetera, et cetera. I bring up all this preamble because this is going to be a big fight. And so I would normally say this is a good time for you to use all your inspirations. So here's the problem. In the month of December, I'm going to try not to pat myself on the back that it just happened to work out this way, totally by my own plan. I have had no less than, leading up to this fight, 2 previous massive ending fights that were epic deals. One of them was a season-ending finale, a battle against a major boss in Eberron. One was a series-ending finale, literally the slaying of a dragon in my Adventures in Middle-earth campaign, setting up for my new, sponsored by Free League, by the way, Shire Adventures campaign, which launches late January. And so now there's this battle now. And so my once proud inspiration list on my channel is very small. And chat was like, and I think it was Echo. Yeah, see, Echo was like, but I have to save something for Saltmarsh. And then at one point the party was literally like, we're at death's door. Does anyone have an inspiration? And Echo's like, oh, fine. And gave the last inspiration. So we're going to try, chat, but I didn't mean for 3 epic world-ending type battles to happen all within 3 weeks of each other. So if you want, y'all know how you can build up your inspirations. You can support the Patreon, and you can then let people know. 'Tis the season to help them, because we'll see. It wasn't my fault. I didn't plan it. So we'll see. Just 7 people have inspirations. I know, usually we have like 20, but we used 13 of them to save the party in the last several fights. I'm sure that won't be necessary. No doubt Thousand Teeth will be simply a small little lizard that the party just sort of destroys. In the words of the great, sadly departed boxing referee Mills Lane, let's get it on. All right, let's fire up some combat music. And I don't think we had rolled, correct me if I'm wrong, I don't think we had rolled initiative last time for you folks, but maybe I'm wrong, or did we?
Just fought 2 giant snakes.
Oh,
and
right,
then
we're in
one
that
got
same
eaten
initiative roll.
by Thousand Teeth as he made his appearance, and like just boom.
Yep.
Out
Yeah,
of
you're
the
right.
water.
You were right. I just don't know why it didn't show up here in Roll20. I still have it on my notepad, but
Yeah, we had like an issue where the initiative wasn't showing up, if I remember right.
I remember now. Yes. Okay. Well, that's all right. We'll do without. All right. Let's get the theme music up for this, shall we? All right. Is that loud enough? Can people hear that?
Mm-hmm.
Yep.
Okay.
And we also still have Fury of the Tides going, because that goes on for a minute.
Oh, there we go.
I've still got Shield Toad deployed.
Shield Toad!
Yes.
I do remember Shield Toad. Yes, that came very much towards the end of the session. So maybe while I'm getting this volume situation sorted out, let us know what Shield Toad does again, Saber.
So Shield Toad, once I deploy it, lasts for an hour. I can do it once per long rest. It's one of the forms of my Eldritch Cannon, which once per turn as a bonus action, I can use it to fire off a field of temporary hit points for creatures of my choosing within 10 feet of it. And it's 1d8 plus 3 temporary hit points. If that happens to be higher than their current temporary hit points, they can elect to take the higher total, but it does not stack.
Okay. Right, and it can move on its own. I think we talked about the idea that
if
this
I put
might
it
be
down, it can scuttle off. Yes.
Yeah, because it could be a separate target theoretically, like it's of its own. If
Yes.
I mean, I don't think that Thousand Teeth is going to particularly be going like, I must use my tactical genius to attack the Shield Toad, but I'm just letting you know that, like...
I would definitely call shenanigans on that one.
He comes like, roaring up to it.
You're the one.
Yeah,
you're
sure.
the thing healing the party members. Right, get the
Morpho's
little mechanical
currently
toad.
carrying it under his arm instead of having his shield out.
Right.
But he could do something like scuttle it up a tree where he could reach it.
Can he climb?
It can walk up walls, yes.
Great. I could just see the crocodile walk.
This entire campaign to be able to use this toy.
Of course it can.
I know. I'm actually very excited for it. It's a very odd thing to be. I mean, as I said, it's a once per long rest. I'm not concerned about being OP. It's hard to be upset about being OP about a Shield Toad anyway. Like,
yeah. I mean, I can use a spell slot if the need arises, but I get a free one per long rest. Basically.
Yeah, I forgot about that.
Good stuff. Okay, so I am most excited to hear this all goes down. So I've already basically given the recap, but I will mention that when the party arrived, taking a kind of long circuitous route, which they were doing to basically minimize the potential of attack, but also balance it against the need for haste, because there are only 7 hours until a final, basically deciding vote among the lizard folk, more or less. Not a vote, but basically, the confrontation between supporters of the Alliance and those against are going to come together. And so if the party's not back by then, who knows how the whole Alliance thing is going to go. And it definitely won't involve, at that point, the town of Saltmarsh. So it's going to be up to the party to save the humanoid species from themselves, I guess, so to speak. In the way that this is managed. So, with all that said, the party arrived and walked forward, and everything seemed fine for a little bit until they were attacked by 2 very large snakes. They were successfully able to drive off the snakes, although part of the driving off of the snakes may have involved the appearance of the very enormous Thousand Teeth, who, as I said, is this ancient crocodile who has risen out of the water to attack. So, quickly, players, I have Silvo at a 14 initiative, which I believe was the top of the round. This is what I think we had the last time. And I have 19 out of 19 hit points, and then I had 10 temp hit points for you. Is that right, Silva?
So, yes, though the hit points are correct. I don't have initiative on any screen as far as I can see.
Okay, so
I'm just going to take your word for it.
Yeah, it's 14. So actually, if you can add... Actually, I think I can probably do that. Well, maybe not. See if... No, let me see if I can just add you to the turn order, because it'll be easier. Oh, there we go. Can you all see that now?
Yes.
Can see that now,
I can also edit mine.
Yeah. But you don't
Mine's a
see the.
0.
Do you see the 0 or do you see the?
I do. I see the 0.
Okay.
I see Oceanus at 9 and myself at 0. That's it.
Okay. Let me get you to. Oh, you can. Yeah. Go ahead and edit yourself, please.
I think I can edit myself. 1, 4. There you go.
Okay. And then, all right, that's good. Yeah, this is sometimes a little weird. Okay, so
I found the initiative on the tracker on the chat. So you had Ananda at 12, Morthwheel at 6, and Waves at 10.
On this, yeah, that's right.
Yeah.
Yeah, that's what I had too. Brian, so you're at 12, but you don't see yourself yet, right?
No, I don't.
Okay, we will address that right now. Okay, now you should see yourself as 12, I think. Can you confirm?
Yeah, now I can see myself as 12. Yeah.
Great. And while we're on the subject of you, I have you at 29 out of 34 hit points, 5 temp, and I also have you at the unfortunate 1 level of exhaustion.
Yes, I've got.
I'd forgotten
So I
that.
get a disadvantage on ability checks. I've got 29 current hit points and 5 temporary hit points.
Awesome. Okay. Let's see. Then we've got waves crashing against rocks. And so you had a 10, but you don't see yourself, right, Waves?
I don't see myself.
Okay. You will see yourself
Try looking down.
now. Okay.
There's a lot of hair there. No.
This graphics engine doesn't
I have
support
no
that.
legs or
I have-
feet.
Hope you enjoyed the ride.
Oh my god. So you do see yourself now, Waves?
Yes, I see myself.
Okay, I have you at 16 out of 35. You actually took it on the chin
Yes.
from one of these snakes, I think.
Yes.
And 5 temp hit points, I believe.
Yep, that's what I see as well.
Okay, and then we have Oceanus next at 9. Do you see yourself there, Oceanus?
I do. Somehow I'm in the list.
And 40 hit points with 10 temp is what I have you at?
Yes. Yeah, that's right.
Okay. And last
Sorry,
but...
like 30 plus 10 is what you mean by 40? Because that's what I have on my end.
Maybe I put you at 40 because I was adding them. So then, I don't know. I want to confirm that. Really? Because I think I thought you might have been at 40. Let me
Pretty
see.
sure Oceanus only has 30 hit points.
Okay, you might be right. Let me. Yep, you're totally right. Okay. Oh no, you know why? Because didn't we level you up once to match? Or am I, again, maybe I'm delusional. Forget it. That's fine. You're all level 3, so it's not weird that you'd only have 30. So that's fine.
Yeah.
So let's
technically, I
assume
think
that.
I'm level 4 because of doesn't matter. Because it has Oceanus has 4 hit dice, and it doesn't matter. 30 seemed reasonable, and
Okay, so we'll measure it out. Everybody else
Yeah.
is at level 3, but yeah, it may have been when you were brought in. Okay, so regardless, 30 of 30 hit points, 10 temp, awesome. And that brings us last, but certainly not least, to Morthwheel. I assume you don't see yourself, Morthwheel?
Not yet, no.
Okay, that will change.
You
Now,
just drop me in at the bottom there.
at 0. No, it's not.
It may as well be.
Okay, 6. And you have 26 out of 26 hit points.
Mhm.
You have
Yep.
10 temporary hit points.
Yep.
You have a shield toad, and you have cheese. So I just want to be clear that that's what we've got.
I think this fight might need some cheese.
Yeah, it's- exactly. This is like you yesterday getting that hero to constantly bang into the tree while you were running away from him over again.
Yeah.
It's just like classic AI cheese. Okay, so there we go. Chat, let's make this a memorable one, shall we, for our last Saltmarsh stream of 2022.
A memorial one. What?
See, I didn't say that.
A memorial one for our last Saltmarsh stream.
I
Wow,
said a
that's
memorable one,
harsh.
but maybe you just heard a growling of a big crocodile. Okay. So 1,000 Teeth is there. Now, first to operate here, first to act is, what's up, Stalio? Exactly, a salty adventure. First to operate is Silvo. Silvo, what would you like to do? I don't think anyone at the moment is in the water, right? I know that obviously Waves is in front, having just taken on the chin from these snakes, but nobody is currently trapped or imprisoned or anything, right?
I don't
Nobody's
think
in the
anyone's in the
water. I'm in front, like on the beach part, and the others are a little bit behind me up the slope.
Right. Yep. Okay. So
we're up
That's
like
how
a
I remember
slope
it.
thing. Yeah.
that is
I've
right.
got my crossbow out.
And Oceanus is about halfway between the two groups. If I remember, he moved to like close the
Yeah,
distance.
Morthrilla was about 5 feet behind Brine and Waves because they needed some temp hit points.
Right. So Waves, just so we're clear, you are about, I would say, 50 feet probably right now from Thousand Teeth. And then everyone else is relative to Waves in the way we just suggested.
I make it sound like a scared chicken.
I think, yeah, you did that you did that somehow with like some that sounded perfect. I think the last session we did.
Somebody needs the sound effect from the Fable franchise.
Okay. So Silvo, what would you like to do?
Silvo will take aim at Thousand Teeth and try to hit it with his crossbow. And also
Okay.
Try not to. Oh, that's an amazing. I'm glad that happened first. I just get that out of the way right now.
You just
That's a
fire it up
5.
into the air and you shout,
He's-
Gandalf! It's you!
He's like, don't worry, I got this. I'm not scared at all. Twang.
You did successfully miss way. I like the idea that your crossbow bolt just like you hear like Waves hears this splish next to her, and then you like look down to see this little ripple in the water, and you're like, you know,
It's just a crossbow just floating on the water. It's basically I've just thrown it.
Thousand Teeth is like,
Yep, that's me. I'm staying put.
okay, all right. That's going to lead us to Brine. Brine, you are up next. What would you like to do?
I am also going to take aim with my crossbow, but I'm specifically aiming for the crocodile's eye.
Okay. Okay, so you know, although it is a big eye, it is heavily armored. You might be able to tell that from the picture that I've got there. And the worst part is that its jaws are open, which literally kind of protects the eye. So that's fine. You can still do this, but you're going to be making that shot at disadvantage. Unless you get inspiration from our numerous numbers of remaining inspirations in chat. So yeah, but you could still do it. But again, it's not a bad thought. It's just a question of figuring out how to orient because the eye is somewhat armored and protected in current state.
I'm gonna attempt with disadvantage, I think.
Okay.
Right.
All right. Yeah, exactly. The croc is attacking the mountain. The heroes are just in the way. Yeah, the hex is, it's a little not quite to scale, but it's close.
Okay, so 17.
17 will hit.
For 4 piercing
Okay.
in the eye.
That's right, in the eye. Oh wait, actually, 17. You did this. Oh, that was the lowest one. Yeah. Okay, that's amazing. Okay, so in the eye. So that does hit, and I'll say that it does a little more damage because you've hit it in the eye. Although you were sad to see not quite as much as you would have hoped for hitting in the eye. But it does feel like that was like a vulnerable area. It's just that, you know, it was only so much damage that you're able to do that route. The creature roars in anger, and then taking what we call in the business a legendary action, which happens at the end of your turn. And I should specify, do you want to move anywhere first before I do this? It is at the total end of your turn, so do you want to move anywhere, Brian?
Me, are we all kind of bunched up, or are we we're separated out a little bit, aren't we, at the moment?
A little bit. You've got Waves in front. You've got on the beach area, as Waves said. And then you've got, I think, you behind a little bit. You've got Morthwill, Silvo up on the bank a little bit, the embankment basically above this pool where Thousand Teeth's lair is. And then you've got Oceanus I'm not sure, Oceanus, if you were standing when you were all telling me the positions. I'm sorry. Did you say you were standing next to Waves or standing near Waves, or?
I was near, if I remember right. I didn't have the speed to actually close the distance because I'd been up on the hill.
Right.
But I made my way toward
Okay.
our two warriors.
Okay. So yeah, so everyone I would say is within 20 feet or 25 feet of each other, roughly speaking. and then Thousand Teeth is about 50 feet from Waves, although it's going to be less in a minute.
Okay, I'm gonna. The reason I asked the positioning is because I don't want us to be kind of one target. So as long as I'm far enough away from the others, so that like if it like charges at one of us, it's not going to get us all.
Right. Despite its size, it's not actually Monster Hunter Croc size. Like, it's not going to consume 5 creatures at once. So it's not that big. But okay, that's fine. So you can. But one question: are you going forward towards it though, or to the side to avoid this bunching up?
To the side.
Okay. Okay, sounds good. So that is done. Now it takes one of its legendary actions. And what you see it do, maybe to your horror waves, I don't know, is it makes this lunge maneuver, and you are struck by how fast it moves despite its bulk in the water. So it reared up and roared, and when it gets hit with this this crossbow bolt in the eye, and then it splashes down this big, sort of wave goes up from where it hit, and then like almost silently again moves towards you, this sinuous green line in the water about 25 feet or so. So it's now only about 25 feet away. Now you just see its yellow eyes right above the level of the water. Okay, and that was its legendary action. And now it's actually its turn. So on its turn, it's going to move the rest of the way. It's an unfortunate initiative order structure there. It is going to attack. Going to move up, and then it's going to attack. And it's going to make a multi-attack. I'm sure you weren't surprised. It will start Waves by attempting to bite you. So it's going to attempt to bite. And so you see it kind of, and then, sort of rises up out of the water. I recommend chat tonight for some pleasant dream time viewing. Go onto YouTube and find a couple of crocodile attacks and sweet dreams. Those are lovely, lovely creatures to watch doing that. Okay. So let's see. It's going to attempt to attack you with. Oh, that first one isn't going to get it done. That's an 11. That's terrible.
Yeah, no, an 11 does not hit me.
How about a 22? That's its second attack.
Yeah, 22 would hit me, yes.
Well, so that was unfortunate. Let's see. Okay, and then, let's see. We're going to do 19 points of damage, Waves. So
Whoa.
that's 5 temp, remember. So
Yeah.
you have 14. So you have no temp now.
I have 2 left.
You have 2 regular ones left.
2, yeah, that's all I have left now.
That's good because now it attacks with its tail. So this is its second attack. So its second attack is going to be with its tail. Oh, no, I'm sorry. I got that wrong. It's not 2 with its bite and 1 with its tail. It was 1 each. And that's not fair. I had to do 2 with its bite. So never mind. I take that back. It did its 2 attacks. Next time it'll use its tail probably.
Yeah, okay.
So you are still standing, and once it does this, so it bites you, and then you all see Waves get sort of crunched between the jaws of this creature.
An explosion of feather as if it had bitten into a pillow.
Exactly, and it does not down. And it does not drag Waves into the water. It lets Waves go, but then sinks down below the surface again. Its yellow eyes observing you. And I think I would actually ask Waves to make this insight check. Actually, I'm going to ask Waves and Brian to both make an insight check for me, please.
Okay.
Would Morthwell be eligible because I'm about 5 feet behind Waves?
I'd say not. The reason that Waves can see it is because Waves just was right up in front. The reason Brian is doing it is because of what Waves just did before. You're a little too busy worrying about being bitten. Okay. Yeah, you don't know. It's just you just see that's yellow-eyed gaze kind of looking at both of you. All right. That's going to bring us on to Waves, who is quite hurt, but is here.
That thing disengaged, right?
No, it's still there in melee range. All I mean is that it just it didn't drag you
The
down.
question is if I decide to turn around and run away, whether it gets an attack of opportunity.
It will definitely do that.
That's not good then. That's not good.
It might miss.
Yeah, it
know?
might do that. That would be
It
very
missed you
nice
once
of
already.
It, but I will. Yeah, didn't it? That was also very nice of it. Let me quickly see what I can do. As this is an action, that would give me 5. Or I did not expect to need healing this quickly. What is my spell casting ability modifier? That's also 5. Okay. That still seems like the better option. I cast heroism on myself.
It seems like a good time for it. All right, outstanding. We can all see it, of course, but tell chat what happens as you heroically do this.
I touch my heart and give out a cry like an eagle, and now I am imbued with bravery and immune to being frightened, and I also gain temporary hit points equal to my spellcasting modifier at the start of each of my turns.
Nice.
But I also have to keep up concentration for this. So if it bites me again, we'll see what happens.
Seriously.
But right now I get 5 temporary hit points.
Now, I believe, I need to confirm this, but I don't think those stack. I think it just renews the 5 temp. So I don't think you get like 5, then 10, then 15, then 20. I think it goes 5 and then it renews to another 5 and then another 5. I will confirm, but I think that's the case. This is still a great spell
It
and
says,
maybe useful, but
gains temporary hit points equal to your spellcasting modifier at the start of each of its turns.
right. But I don't think that means that they stack together as a gain.
I'm pretty sure
Okay.
temp HP don't stack because I looked into this a lot when I was
Oh,
looking
well.
at Shield
Still-
Toad and what it can do.
5 is better than nothing in this situation.
Yeah, they do not stack, confirmed. So, yeah, no, I mean, like, right. Like, what else?
And
It's also
yeah,
narratively
and-
makes the sense. This is time to be a hero, like, you know.
Yeah, and so I'll stand there with my rapier and my shield and just don't disengage to it. And so because I've taken my action, so there is nothing I can do with my bonus action, I think.
Right. I mean, you could.
Yeah.
Right. I mean, you could disengage 5 feet as your move, but I mean that will not. Just the disengage 5 feet is not going to provoke an attack. That's what a disengage is. If you want to run away at a good move distance, that will provoke an attack. But if you just want to get away 5 feet, you can do that.
Yeah, I slowly back away 5 feet then,
Yep.
while still like remaining eye contact with the thing.
Oh, it loves having eye contact with you. It's like, you know, right at you. Okay, sounds good. Oceanus, things are getting a little rough out there, and you are, as you can see, Thousand Teeth has already shown its bite.
Yes. So Oceanus is going to close the distance, assuming that's possible.
Oh yeah, especially
and
now.
Yeah, that's true. And instead of attacking directly, he is going to grab Britannia, his trident, with both hands, standing next to Waves. So
Okay.
giving that 5-foot gap or
Okay.
whatever.
Yep.
And if Thousand Teeth closes that distance, that 5-foot gap, Oceanus is going to take a stab at him.
All right. Oh no, this was a mistake. Terrible mistakes have been made. Oh, I really wish. Okay, hold on. I've got to fix the gridding system so that I can actually show this to chat in a way that makes sense. Okay, grid off. Okay, now. Hey, look at that. Everyone stays the way they should. Okay, so now, we've got Waves up front, facing Thousand Teeth. We've got Oceanus standing there right near Waves, so basically side by side. And I would put you. Tell me if I'm wrong on this, Anana, but I assumed Brian is like, if you can see on like here. Does that sound about right? Like you're spread
Yeah.
out, basically.
Yeah, I was slightly further back, so Wave was
Position
kind-
yourselves wherever you like. Like you, that's fine.
It was kind of more like slightly further.
Silvo's running away. Silvo's running away.
As you can see, Silvo will not be joining us again. in this adventure. Okay.
He'll be in the
Yeah,
van.
it was kind of I was there.
Just get the car
Just gonna
warmed.
get some gear for the hunt. It's fine.
Get the boat warmed up.
Looking
Cool,
at
he left the
the
oven on.
cameras is important too.
Yeah,
Just
yeah,
watching the
that's true.
cameras is fine.
Okay.
Yeah, it looks. I think Oceanus would actually probably go between the two. If there's a gap there, it'd probably go between the two of them.
Okay, that's a little more rational now. Right. Okay. Close enough that you can still get an attack in Oceanus. You wish to do that?
Oh, I thought I was. I thought there were 5 feet between the two of them. Yeah, I mean, if I'm in range, I will attack.
Well, because the way it is you are to the side, right? You're essentially standing shoulder to shoulder on the bank, along the bank as Thousand Teeth faces the both of you. So there's no reason, it's within melee range of Waves. It can be within melee range of you.
Okay, I misunderstood. I thought Waves was 5 feet out of melee. Yeah. Okay.
Well, okay, yes. Waves has. I wouldn't say out of melee though. I mean, Waves has disengaged 5 feet. Yes. So I guess if you want to just walk up next to her and stand there, that's fine. I don't know what that does for you though. I mean, it means that, I don't know, you're in line with her. I mean, are you presenting yourself as a target for it? You mean?
I want us to be equal opportunity targets.
Okay. Yeah, you can definitely do that. You could even probably from 5 feet. Well, you could throw something, I guess. If otherwise, you'd have to move forward in front of Waves slightly to actually engage it in melee, I suppose, and then you couldn't disengage again with that attack. So yeah, you either throw something at it or stand where you are. You could also hold an action too. If it comes in and attacks, you could melee it.
That was
when
my
it does
plan.
so.
Hold the attack action.
Okay.
So stand 5 feet away or whatever next to Waves and hold the attack action.
Okay. Right. Okay.
Ready
That's
to
right. You
two-hand
said
attack
that.
with a trident.
Okay. Sounds good. Awesome. All right. That seems likely to occur. And in fact, it's going to do that yet? No, it's not going to do that yet. Okay, Morthwheel is up next. What would you like to do?
Let's have a look. Our first thing he's going to do is use his bonus action, I think, so everyone just feels this familiar sensation again of just like a field going... Ooh. And I will roll for Shield Toad's temporary hit points. So everyone within 5 feet. So that will definitely be Oceanus and Waves. I think Brian's in range as well.
Does it include Silvo, who's in the basement of the inn at this point? Or
Probably not. No, I'm back in Saltmarsh to just regaling
Silvo
people.
feels a pang of guilt.
Yeah, exactly.
No, he
like,
doesn't.
I heard of something.
No, he doesn't.
A pang of relief, maybe. Okay, so...
Okay, so that's 9 temporary hit points for anyone who's got lower than 9 currently.
So Brian would be up to 9, I
Yeah.
believe. And Waves would be up to 9. And that Oceanus already had 10.
So yeah, you can choose to keep the 10 if he wants then.
Okay.
Same for me. And I'm going to follow up by slinging a firebolt at one of those beady little eyes poking above the water.
Yeah, this again is a disadvantage. It's like, it's like you're pointing at 2 fireflies.
13.
13 is not going to do it,
Okay.
unfortunately. Didn't look like it missed by all that much, but it definitely was not quite there.
Right.
So it splashes in the water. Actually, between its 2 eyes, which sort of they balefully look in your direction.
So I hit its head but missed.
No, like, the crocodile's like between, right?
Between, yeah.
So,
I'm
like-
thinking at an angle, but yeah. As for movement, I think Orthil's going to hold his position for the time being.
All right. Then let's see. That's going to lead us to the top of the round. He's not going to use his legendary action again yet. Blah, blah, blah. Then we're going to go back up to the top of the round. That's going to lead us to Silvo. Okay, Silvo. So if you quadruple move...
Yeah. Where is the nearest boat back to Saltmarsh? The adventuring life is not for me. It was all fun and games until someone nearly lost a Kenki. So as Silver, so this all happens, everything that's just happened does happen in very quick succession, I'm thinking, yes?
Yeah.
Because rounds aren't like
About-
minutes, they're seconds.
Since the snakes arrived, less than a minute.
Yeah, so Silvo sees Thousand Teeth sort of crunch into Waves, and there's this moment where he just sort of lowers his crossbow, and he's like, "Oi, get off her!" And with that, he's going to accidentally cast Dissonant Whispers at 2nd level.
I was waiting to see when a Dissonant Whisper's appearance might happen. Okay.
So, for Dissonant Whispers, if people who don't know, you whisper a discordant melody that only one creature of your choice within range can hear, racking it with terrible pain. The target must make a wisdom saving throw. Hopefully it's not the wisest of giant crocodiles. And on a failed save, it takes 3d6 psychic damage. But at 2nd level, it's going to take 4d6 psychic damage and immediately must use its reaction, if available. So,
to do what?
let's see. If available, thank you. If available, I didn't click the see more button. If available, to move as far as its speed allows away from you. The creature doesn't move into obviously dangerous ground, such as a fire or a pit, and on a successful save, the target takes half as much damage, and it doesn't have to move away.
Okay. So I'm here to tell you it sure didn't save.
Okay.
So it took all of that. So go ahead and roll your damage.
D6, 4d6. Come on, big numbers. 13 points of psychic damage.
Those are decent numbers. Okay. So now that's the good news, Silvo. The not as good news is that as you are watching, it does indeed react as you said. You know, it reacts by needing to move away, and it disappears below the water. Completely below the water.
So Silver also doesn't know that he cast a spell. Like, he feels like an itch at the back of his brain. So all he knows now is just shout at this crocodile that's run away. So he's like, I didn't think I was that scary.
Okay. How long does that effect last, by the way?
I think it's just immediate.
Just its initial reaction?
Yeah,
okay.
Just its initial reaction is to move away from me.
So where are you? So now that you were backed up pretty far when this happened, so when you come to from all this, Silvo, what then do you do? Because technically you still have like a movement, that's left or whatever.
I'm going to stay exactly where I am.
Okay. Yeah, seriously, Lou. That's interesting because probably, oh man, which one is he going to? Okay. We're going to roll a 4-sided die, chat. On 1 to 2, the creature that is below the water is going to resurface. Using its legendary action, it is going to rise from the surface and attack. The question is, will it attack waves or will it attack Oceanus? Let us find out. Let's find out by actually picking the freaking token. I have to go into the... I know how to use Roll20. Okay. So it's back. All right. It is going to... Let's see how we do here, chat. All right, D4. So 1 to 2 will be Oceanus. 3 to 4 will be waves. 1 to 2 was Oceanus. So it rises
it
up.
It just likes poultry.
Yeah. It's just like, ugh. It tastes like chicken. And it rises from the water and attacks. All right, Oceanus, it's going to make a bite attack against you.
Do I get my attack first since it was ready?
Let me see. Let me think about that. Because it's technically a legendary action. Sure, you know what? Yeah. It's not going to stop its attack, but you can get your attack in before that, yes.
Sweet. All right. Let me try and hit it here. I don't know what happened there.
I know that's a critical hit is what happened.
It's a critical hit is what happened, yeah.
I love it. Okay.
Thank you, improved critical.
Max damage. Let's go. What are we looking at for actual max damage? Forget that die roll. What's the actual
sorry
max
about
damage?
that. Max damage would be 18, 2d8 plus 2.
So 18, nice.
Nice.
Okay. So
I'm going to turn off automatic damage rolls. Those are confusing.
good. Okay. Right. So what I'd like you to describe before it brings its bite attack down upon you, because I'm fairly convinced that but tell me if I'm wrong, but I think a 22 is going to hit you.
Yes, again.
Yeah.
Okay. So can you tell me
but
just
it's
briefly
me.
what that
No,
looks
it's
like?
going-
No,
it's going for
it's
me.
Oceanus.
No, it's going for Oceanus.
Oh.
Yep.
No, I thought you were saying it doesn't like poultry because it chose Oceanus to attack.
Oh, I'm sorry.
Yeah. No. Go
No,
in
you're
for-
safe. You're safe.
Yeah, you're fine. Oceanus. Okay, so assuming a 22 hits you, which I believe you said it does, Oceanus, what does it look like though? This beast looks like rises way above you, and you've got your trident, right? and it sort of, does it crash down upon you when you can you describe the trident thrust, if you will?
Yes. Well, first of all, he's going to turn to Waves as it rises. He's going to give almost like a wink, like a knowing wink, and just say in Orin, not an Orin, primordial speech, trust me. And then he's going to kind of stab up while being almost consumed by the jaws.
Okay.
Jamming up to the top of the throat while also being bitten at the same time.
I love it. Yeah, you hit this. You hit it for a lot, and it also hits you for well, we'll see how much, but could be for a lot.
I'll be honest.
Let's see. Well, that's a fair bit. 19 points of piercing damage.
Goodness for the shield toad.
So yeah, I know, seriously. So you take 9, so no temp hit points left, but you take 9 to yourself. That shield toad may save everyone here in the end, because this thing hits like a truck. Okay, like a truck with teeth. So it bites down upon you. See Oceanus almost sink below its weight as it does, but you manage to hold up against it. And then it comes crashing down. You manage to... Now, you have 2 options. I'm going to give you an option here, Oceanus. You could theoretically... you could rip the trident out so that you still have it. If you leave it in there, just sort of on its own, then you're not presenting yourself as any worse or better of a target than before. If you... but then you don't have a trident. If you rip it out, though... there is the risk that it's going to be able to look at you specifically to target. Maybe you're fine with that, but I'm just letting you know that whether you want to draw its attention or not may decide whether you pull the trident free or not.
I would never hear the end of it if I left this family heirloom inside of a crocodile, so I'm not leaving it.
I thought as much. Okay, so you rip it clear again. No, that's not right at all. As it echoes across the swamp, you hear the buzzing of the flies almost increases loudly, like a chorus watching this epic battle unfold. All right, Oceanus, good stuff. We'll see. Strike 1 for the sea elves on the reaction. Okay, that was its legendary action. It happened on Silvo's turn, and so at the end of Silvo's turn. So now we move on to Brine. Brine, this thing hits a lot, but it's also been hit. It does not look wildly hurt yet, but it definitely has been. It can bleed, so
You can kill
Has
it.
my shooting it with a crossbow in the eye affected its eyesight at all?
It does not appear to have yet. This is why I mentioned that it didn't do quite as much damage as you might have hoped in the eye. But it may just be also, maybe you do it multiple more times, that might not matter. You don't know. It also may rely more on scent than sight. You're not sure.
Okay, perfect. I know that crocodiles, I was reading up on crocodiles in preparation for this, surprisingly enough. They also have very good hearing. Okay, how far away
And
from
tremor
me-
sense. Seriously, they can actually sense vibrations of creatures under the water.
Yeah,
They are
I
really
did-
scary. Don't go to the Everglades is what I'm telling you.
No.
Don't.
I wasn't planning on it.
Yeah.
How far away from me is Waves? Roughly.
Waves right now, I would say, based on where you are, because Oceanus is sort of between you, is about 10 feet from you.
Okay. What I'd like to do is, if I ran to Waves and gave her a health potion, that would be a full action, right?
Yes.
Okay. I would like to do that. I would like to run the 10 feet to Waves. I'd like to give her a healing potion, which is 2d4 plus 2.
Okay.
And then I would like to continue running kind of to about here.
Okay.
And then I would like to use my action surge.
Hold on one second, though, Brian, before you continue. Please note that because Waves is right near melee combat, is basically in melee range, that means you are too when you give her the potion. If you then continue to run and leave its range, you're going to provoke an attack of opportunity.
Ah, okay. So running behind her isn't going to make a difference.
You could run behind her, yes. I have to think about whether... Here's the problem, though. I don't want to be too pedantic about it, but you can't just sprinkle it on her feathers. She would literally have to turn to receive it, and that's going to leave her exposed. because you can't just like force feed it down her beak.
No.
You know,
Yeah.
so
You
You can if she's
like, shout,
unconscious, but,
open,
you know.
open your beak.
Okay, well, I'm determined to give this a healing potion to Wave, so I'm gonna get as close as I can without provoking an attack of opportunity.
Yeah, you definitely won't provoke getting there. That won't be the problem.
Okay. So do you want me to roll for the healing first?
Why not?
Before my action surge.
Sure.
So it is. Is it that way round, or is it that way round? 2, 2.
I still saw Oceanus' 5 + 6 piercing. I'm like, you did piercing damage to Wave? I was like, no.
So that's 9.
Okay. Lovely.
And then I would like to use my action surge to once again try and use my crossbow bolts, and specifically aiming for the crocodile's eyes, particularly the eye that I've already hit.
Yeah, that sounds good. That's pretty much the only thing that's visible, because every time it attacks, it then drops below the water. This thing is clearly wily, probably why it's this big. Sure, you can do that. Same issue with the disadvantage. Actually, wait a minute. The administering of a potion to you is a bonus action. I'm not sure if it isn't a full action, though, if you're going to administer it to someone else, which would mean you couldn't then fire off a crossbow at the same time.
Not even with the action surge?
Oh, I'm sorry. I'm so sorry. Brain fog, COVID. Yes, obviously. Action surge. Right. Yes, of course. You can do that. Go ahead and fire away. It is still going to be a disadvantage, though. You know that, right, Brian?
Yeah.
Okay.
Does 14 hit?
14 does just hit, yes. Okay, so again, and how are we doing on the damage there? You can do your damage as the second part of that roll. So you can, if you want to do that as the 10 piercing, which was the higher damage, I think, and
I
use
would
the
very
attack.
much like to do the higher
I
amount
figured.
of damage.
Okay, and it also does a couple of points extra because you did hit it in the eye. So again, it roars in pain, and it seems very displeased with you, Brian. Okay, so it does that. Now the question is, are you staying in that same spot, or are you going to take the risk of provoking as you move away? Sorry about that. Yeah, that's the other sheet. Thank you, Fecklife.
I'm gonna risk it for a biscuit. Yeah, I'm gonna move away.
Okay. All right. It's going to attempt to bite. Partly because it's really not happy with you. Unless someone has something they want to do.
I'm gonna use my reaction to make that roll force it to make that roll at disadvantage.
Nice. And that actually works narratively because you've got the trident that you're still dealing. You beast. Okay. All right. Sounds like a plan. He is going to not like that. Oh, Jesus. Well, he rolled the identical number, and I suspect those are both going to hit, or either one of them rather would hit, because that's a 26.
I have an AC of 16, so just a little bit. Yeah.
Narrowly annihilates the armor class. Yeah, literally rolled the same thing on both of them. I'm sorry to say, Oceanus. All right, so that is going to do. You all are starting to realize why the lizard folk think of this thing as like almost a godlike crocodile. That is 20 points of piercing damage. So that's 9 temp is gone now. So that's 0, and then you have another 11. So I think that's 18, Brian, if I'm not mistaken.
It is.
Okay. Okay. You're definitely hurting it. It's just it just bites so hard. Okay. All right, Brian. Good stuff though. You did get your paladin healed up. Not as good news as the fact that it's now its turn. So now what I think it's going to do is it's going to actually use its much vaunted, by which I mean I mentioned it before, tail attack. Now this tail attack is going to be against one of the 3. Who is it most upset with? Not a fan of Brian's, not a fan of Waves, really not a fan of Oceanus. I think it's still enraged enough that it's probably just going to take a guess. So we're going to say that we're going to roll. Let's see if I can roll a 1. I mean, I could customize it, but can I do D3? How the heck do you do custom rolls?
It's /R, and then.
Is there any way to do it off that window? I always
don't
use
think so.
Yeah.
I don't know.
Okay, what do you folks do for the text commands? It's to do the custom roll, because I want to make this a public roll. That's why.
/R space 1d3 should roll it for you.
1d3. Okay, cool. Thank you. All right, so 1
Excited
is
duck.
going to be Oceanus, 2 will be Waves, and 3 will be Brine. All right, here we go, and there we go. It was a 3. It's Brine. Well, okay, so it's going to attempt to attack you with its tail. It is going to get that's a 21 to hit.
That hits.
The better news is that it is not as damaging as its bite, but there is another problem associated with it. First, let's see how the damage works out. That is going to be 9 damage, and that is of bludgeoning damage. But you now need to make a strength saving throw for me, Brian, to avoid being knocked prone by its massive tail. Wow. 24.
Plus-
So you're just like, oh, actually, no, wait, though. Is it on saving throws or ability checks that we set exhaustion? Just ability checks, right? Not saving throws?
I've got ability checks.
Right, I think that's right.
I've also got improved critical, if that helps as well.
Yeah. No, that would be for something else. But this strength save, that's fine. So yeah, so you just are like, no, I will not go down. So it's pretty impressive. Brian is still standing. So is Waves. Everyone up there, including Oceanus, is hurt a little bit. Everyone else is a little hurt. Just a little bit hurt. Okay. And then, having done that, he is then going to be kind of a jerk. No, not that. There we go. He's going to be kind of a jerk, and he's going to disappear below the water again. And that's going to bring us now to Waves. Waves, I would like you to think of, Pyron, I'd like you to think of the moment in Star Wars A New Hope where they're in the trash compactor. And
I have watched it, sorry. Just kidding.
I was about to be like, that's our show. Good night.
His face when you said that, you got him so hard.
I was like, because I was like,
the smile faded, the eyes widened.
it was because I was like, what do I say? I'm like, I don't know what to do.
I'm sorry.
Okay. So anyway, very funny. But yeah, I was very disturbed. See, Friendly Kitten was like, wow, just wow. See, okay. So as you know very well, Pyron, that scene in the trash compactor, where the creature attacks Luke and then it lets go and it vanishes below the water. That's what this feels like. You're like, what the? It's just somewhere down below there lurking.
Okay, let me have a quick look. Yeah, okay. I
haven't seen it.
I'll also hold my action and stare at the water with the rapier at the ready. And everybody will see like there's a slight like crackling in the air around Waves while she stares at the water in concentration.
Okay, that sounds good. Yeah, Croc goes, aren't you short for a stormtrooper? Okay, good stuff. Shut down all the trash compactors on the detention. Okay. Okay, good stuff. You prepare. Waves is prepared. Her rapier raised. Okay, Oceanus, that leads us to you. Again, the water ripples slightly. There's a dark menace below it.
Sorry, I had to clip that moment, and I just got all the sound in my voice.
Oh,
so
man. I was just like,
that was amazing. Okay,
Yeah.
anyway.
That's pretty great.
So it's invisible, right? I cannot see it. It's below the water, or did I miss it popping up?
It's not that it's not. Yeah, it's essentially invisible. It's definitely there. It's definitely below the water. You know it's there, but
Okay.
you do not see it at the moment.
So I'm gonna do the old spearfishing trick and just wait for it to pop up, because I'm assuming I could take an attack at disadvantage. Is that right? if it's under the water, or would I have no chance at all?
No, if it comes up above the surface, that won't be an issue. Like, you'll be able to attack upon its arrival. If you want to wait until you see it, not necessarily, no. I don't think a sea elf would have that problem. You're using a trident, which is designed to cut through water easily anyway. Now, if you were trying to, like, throw it through 10 feet of water, then no, but you're just trying to, like, melee it, so that's fine. So Waves has the rapier like this. Oceanus has the trident like this. Like, everyone is just standing over the water waiting for this thing to appear. Okay. I respect it. A lot of held actions here. Sounds good. Okay, Morthwheel. There is an eerie silence, a dark, menacing calm.
And then the familiar sensation of Shield Toad going off again.
Okay.
For 9 temporary hit points again.
Okay. So that helps Brine. And it helps... Waves was actually already there. It definitely helps Oceanus, too. Okay.
Silver just like, I'm fine.
Don't worry about me.
Do something.
I am trying.
Pings off my helmet.
Think.
And to do something that I should have done a turn ago, Morthwheel's going to reach into his pack and he pulls out. It looks like the handle of a hand crossbow, but with a tube on top of it and a mechanism that nobody would recognize because flintlock pistols don't exist in this universe. And he pulls back on the hammer, and you see a spark which lights a fuse, and he points it in the air, and he shoots a cylinder, which is going to explode in a 20-foot cube, the outer edge of which will be ahead of everybody and centered over the pond where the crocodile is hiding. And it's going to start raining violet fairy fire.
Ooh, this is getting more World of Warcraft all the time, by the way. It's like, wow, that's amazing. So it arcs. Wow, okay, awesome.
Yeah, so it is now raining fairy fire over the pond in a 20-foot cube, and Thousand Teeth will now need to make a dexterity saving throw with a DC of 13.
I have one question about this, though. I don't want you to waste it. I'm wondering, because we haven't had this come up before, I'm wondering if a creature below the water is going to be affected by this.
So as written, it says any creature in the area when the spell is cast. And it does specify it's a cube, so theoretically the dust could be sinking into the pond.
How big's the cube?
20 feet.
Okay, I tell you what. I'll allow the possibility of this working, but you're going to have to take a guess because the lake itself or the pond is bigger than 20 feet. So you're going to have to take a guess as to where it is. So how about we think of it this way? Let's have you do first a perception check. And I'll have it at disadvantage unless you have something that can benefit that.
Dark vision.
I thought about that, but that's not going to affect. It's the water that's the problem, not the light. So I would say not. But I'll let you make the perception check at disadvantage unless chat wants to help. So.
Okay, just
is there
holding on to
anything
that for
coming
chat.
from inspiration from chat? Maybe. Welcome, Gorguts99. Why, Gorguts, the real name of Thousand Teeth. No, wanted to see my own fight. Nothing from chat? No? Going once?
Nope.
Going
All
twice?
right,
All right,
I'll
so
roll it then.
perception at disadvantage then.
He's out there somewhere.
Yeah.
He's in the tree.
Yeah, exactly. So what I'll let you do then is, so let's assume that the pond, and I need to double check and see how big the pond is. I described it before. I think it's like...
I had it down as 60 feet in diameter with bones in the shallows.
Right. So let's have you then... What I'll have you do is I'll have you roll 1d3, basically. I'm thinking of a number. He's either in quadrant 1, 2, or 3, Morthwheel. And you can aim at one of those. So which quadrant you aiming at?
So we're talking left, middle, and right.
Left, middle, and right.
Middle would be where I'd be centering it on.
Okay. So go ahead and fire that out.
Okay, so it goes off in the air. You see there's a pause and then a doof as the fuse hits the cylinder and ignites.
Unfortunately, all that it does is unhighlight a few lily pads that have not been disrupted in the middle of the area. It appears that it is not in the middle of the lake. Of the
So
pond.
Brian does the whole that you see with fireworks.
Right, exactly. But you were. Originally, I was going to say, well, yeah, you're on your back anyway, but you weren't. You resisted it, so you just have to crane your neck up to see it.
And just to answer effect life, it does technically last for a minute, but it only triggers its effect when the spell is cast.
Yeah, sorry.
Sadly. So those lily pads will stay lit up for the next minute.
Those things will not escape your wrath when all is said and done. It's a very good idea, by the way, Morthwill. It's an excellent idea, but this thing is wily. That's why it does not want to be exposed, especially after being hit in the eye multiple times by a certain Genasi pirate. Okay, so let's see. You're going to stay where you are movement-wise, Morthwill?
Yes, maintain position.
Okay, and the shield toad got its work done, so there's that. Okay, back up to the top of the round. Silvo, you were up. You see some pretty violet lily pads now floating in the middle of the water, but you also see no sign of Thousand Teeth, though it lurks beneath.
Right.
You said on the heath.
Yeah, nice. I like it. So on the back of what Morthwill shouted over to Silvo, all you hear is just Silvo kind of muttering to himself about how he wants magic, useless magic half elf, and there's just this determination where he grips his crossbow even tighter and points it at the lake, and there's no shaking this time. And I want to hold my action, and if Thousand Teeth raises above the water, I'm going to cast Firebolt on it. Thematically, this will work, but it is going to go badly for him. So
okay, I can't wait for the emergence of Thousand Teeth, because like 5 attacks are going to like just fire everything. It's like that from the Star Trek reboot.
Pretty much.
Okay, something else Pyron's never seen clearly. So I'm just kidding. You deserved that. Okay. So you do that. You position yourself, and guess who decides to use a legendary action?
Is it Thousand Teeth?
It is Thousand Teeth. So he comes out of the water. So multiple things are going to happen at once. I guess what I'll do is I'll do these in the order. I mean, everyone's going to get their chance. So I'm going to do these basically in the order that they are in the initiative round. So we'll start with Silvo, and then we'll go to Waves, and then Oceanus will get your attacks off. So Silvo, we'll start with you. So you're going to do your Firebolt thingamabobby?
Yes, my Firebolt thingamabobby. Bear with me 2 seconds. So Silvo, no one's looking at Silvo because he's like a million miles away. But Silvo's basically clutching his quite rickety crossbow that the lizard folk gave him quite hard. His nails are digging into it, and he's really frustrated because he wants to be able to do more than he's currently doing. So he's going to try and hit Thousand Teeth with a Firebolt for an 11.
It's not enough.
It's not enough. That means that the Firebolt actually goes off but doesn't hit Thousand Teeth. Is that correct? Is
right.
That correct,
That's correct. Yes.
Yeah. So okay, cool. In the presence of that, because he didn't mean to do that, his crossbow starts burning in his hands. So he's like, son of a... and just smashes his broken crossbow on the ground.
Ooh.
And then, like, in a moment of realization, you just hear, shit.
Morthwill, I think you probably caught all of that. Behind you probably were like...
It's all right. It was a crap one anyway.
You turn around and Silvo's just sort of brandishing an on-fire crossbow. He's just like, God damn it.
Maybe don't use a balsa wood crossbow next time. Okay. Wow. All right. So that happens. Then Waves is next. So Waves, you get your strike off on the creature as it rises up.
Can I do my bonus action first, or do I have to go right into
This
my
is
action?
just an attack. So you don't have a
Just
bonus
an
action.
attack.
Right, because it's not your turn yet, technically. This is
Okay,
your held
no
action.
Problem. Then I'll do my rapier clock. Normal roll. 17.
17 will hit. I like the idea that you're dueling the
Then-
crocodile. How about you?
But I can still use my Divine Smite because that triggers when I hit a creature with a melee weapon attack.
Fair, sure.
So I'm gonna do that on top of whatever I roll now. By
And he
clicking
deserves
on
to be
the right
smote, let's
thing.
be clear.
Let's see. I hope I clicked on damage. Does it work? No, it doesn't. Input advantage.
No, I saw your attack,
Okay,
but no damage
no problem. Sorry. No, I'll fix this. 1d8 plus 7. I'm just gonna roll it like this. 1d8 plus... No, that's a d6. 1d8 plus 7. Roll. It's a 9.
Okay, so 9 damage
And-
total.
Nope. Then there goes the Thunderous Smite
Oh, yes.
on top. I have to expend a spell slot for that. I drop my Expedient Retreat that I might... Expeditious Retreat. I might regret that later, but not now. For another 2d8
2d8,
points
nice.
of damage.
All right. Yeah, unclear, Knit One.
Another 10.
Wow.
And let's see. One moment. I've got so much to read there. The damage increases if it's a fiend or an undead, but I don't think it is.
That is not the case.
Yeah. Then it's 19 damage in total.
That's pretty good. That's a mighty blow, and we'll see what happens
and
when...
it lights up. It does like.
Wow, so you kind of see the sparkles along this long, sinuous back, and there's a moment, I would say, Waves, where looking at it, you see in the kind of almost unfathomable folds of its neck and its skin, the wrinkles, you see multiple scars and scores lit up by your attack that are from clearly countless battles. And there's a moment where you wonder, how many things has this slain? How many sword thrusts has it taken? How many knife attacks? How many club hits are sort of written into the history of that thing's skin? You only think of that for a moment before brushing away a feather. But I did, but it definitely is one of those like, oh wow, this thing clearly is old. All right, you hit it a lot. That was your attack action on the held attack action, and last but certainly not least, Oceanus is going to get a chance to get his attack in. Wow,
Oh my.
is that the
Another
second crit of just this
Man,
fight
I
for
want
you?
I
I want
love
your
improved
dice.
critical. Oh, I
Good.
love improved critical.
God, man. Yeah, but you're still rolling 19s, though. It's not like you're rolling 14, 10, 6, 19, 19, 19. Okay. Nice. Well, max damage again.
All right, so that was 18 damage.
Okay, these two mighty blows, not quite bookended by the crap of the sound of a fireball. It is almost looks like a flare, though, right? Because the fire hits the water, you hear crap, and then like waves hit, and then Oceanus is hit. And the whole place is like the 4th of July, as the old joke goes. Only Americans find that funny, and not even that. And so that happens, and the creature looks now. You can definitely see those of you who are right next to it. So I would say the three of you, the three melee fighters in front, can see a kind of dark liquid sort of seeping around its body and kind of floating around its body. You looks like you've hit it a lot, and all of that, of course, was as it was rising up to do its legendary attack, which it's now going to do. Question is, against whom? Let's see, who... It's definitely not going to hit one that did not hit it before. So it'll be Waves or it'll be Oceanus. Let's see. So we'll say 1 and 2, 1 or 2 will be Waves. 3 or 4 will be Oceanus.
Bring it on.
All right, let's see. 4. So apparently Oceanus is the one who will be bringing it on, theoretically. Okay, let's see. Hey, Echo. All right. Yeesh. I guess that's what happens when you get hit for 1 billion damage in one round. I don't think a 13 is going to hit you, Oceanus.
That will not do it. Nope.
Wow. Yep. So it misses, probably driven back by the multiple attacks and roaring. It kind of hits back into the water again. This time, though, it does not disappear. It's you can see its eyes. It doesn't disappear all the way below the water. You can see its eyes. Its body is sort of moving in slightly more jerky movements, and its yellow eyes seem to be fixed, kind of looking from place to place, but its sort of yellow-eyed gaze is wide, looking for who it wants to attack next. Okay, that was on the end of Silvo's turn, so that now leads us to Brine. Brine, you are up next.
Okay. If I take a health potion myself, is that a bonus action?
I think taking a health potion is a bonus action for you, yes.
Okay. I would like to take a health potion before I die.
Seems like a good idea.
I think I'm going to get past this. So 2d4 plus 2. So that's another 6 HP for me. So that brings me up to 15.
Okay.
And then I would like to once again aim my crossbow at the crocodile's eye. So he's already got like two crossbow bolts coming out of one eye.
Yep.
I'm planning on like putting a third in the same eye.
I mean, disadvantage hasn't done anything to you this fight, so but it's happening
Don't say
again.
that, you jinxed me.
What? No.
Okay, so 12.
Yeah, well, that does actually miss. So it does just miss, but it does miss. Well, slightly more than just miss, but not by much. And skips off the water nearby it. So unfortunately, that does not hit. Do you want to move anywhere, Brian? You know by this point that the creature is going to be moving next.
I'm not going to disengage now.
Okay. All right. That's going to lead us to its turn. This creature looks, at this point, just enraged, thrashing around wildly, and just, float kind of back and forth, kicking around with its tail, and making up its mind as to who it's going to attack next. Is it going to go back after Oceanus? Yeah, I think it's probably going to go after Oceanus again, because it wants to finish what it started. Okay, and it's going to attack once with a bite and once with a tail this time. So we'll start with... It's wily. It'll start with its tail first. Aw, thank you, Gorg. That's very kind of you. That is a 17 to hit Oceanus.
Oh, this could be bad. Yes, that's a hit.
Ooh.
That's a hit.
It's going to be bad if the saving throw gets missed.
Yeah.
Let's talk about damage first. I think you'll be able to sustain the damage. It is going to do, famous last words, 7. So you're down to 2 temp. The bigger issue is the saving throw. So you need to make a strength saving throw to not become prone.
All right, here we go. Oh no.
Oh.
Oh no.
No, you are knocked straight onto your back. And actually, that's exactly what it wanted to do. It flips around with its tail. You see Oceanus fly up in the air, land on his back, sort of momentarily stunned. And then you are all treated to the horrifying sight of the massive jaws of Thousand Teeth rising up and coming down on the body of Oceanus. Let's see whether it hits. It's going to be doing it at advantage because you are prone. And it's going to 23.
Oh, what a beaut. Yeah, that hits for sure.
All right. That is going to be... Okay, that is 16. Thank you, Gorgut. Welcome to my own channel. Thank you for the follow. For following on my channel. That's going to be 16 points of piercing damage, Oceanus. So,
Okay.
So 2, so 0, so now 0 temp. And now it's 7 out of 30. But there's a problem, Oceanus, beyond this, because it's going to use, basically as this is a once-only thing that it does in desperation, and this is definitely desperation, it, having closed its jaws around you, drags you under the water. Now, you do not have to worry about breathing, fortunately. That's the thing that will help. But you are currently restrained by the thing. I should note for my players that I've done some research on the new 1D&D edition, which may or may not affect what we do with this campaign. We might be, probably not. We'll probably be done with this campaign before 1D&D is officially out. But the grappling rules have been changed there, where normally when you were grappled or restrained in this way, you're at disadvantage on melee attacks. The new rules are going to set it up that you're at disadvantage on anything else but the person or creature restraining you, which makes a lot more sense, honestly. But it's not the current rule set. So, but it is something to think about down the line. I thought that was kind of interesting. At the moment, though, you see Oceanus disappear below the water with Thousand Teeth, who is now out of the way. So this really is the trash compactor scene. Now Han is yelling, "Kid, Luke!" As he's dragged below the water. Okay, so let's have him vanish again. I'm going to leave you visible for right now, Oceanus, but you have also been dragged below the water with this thing.
Okay.
And that's going to lead us now to Waves. You just saw what happened.
So I would now have to go swimming if I wanted to attack a crocodile.
Probably. I mean, you could hold an action again, but you don't know what it's going to do with Oceanus below the surface.
Yeah.
This is a terrible option.
Yeah, because I don't. It's like night in the dark water, and with a. I don't know. But I mean, at least it can't bite me right now. True.
That's true. It's occupied with another morsel at the moment. Croc Baka, yes.
So I would have to like hold my breath and go diving and try to attack it underwater, right?
That's right. Now, it may not have gone that deep, but you, of course, are not a native to the undersea as Oceanus is. But you could do that. You know, you'd have a little bit of, you'd have some issues down there, but you could fight it down below.
Oh, okay, just in case, maybe can I make a perception check to see if I can gauge where the water is like bubbling or something?
Yes, I will allow. Well, yeah, I'll allow that, but for what purpose though? Like, I know you want to know where the water's bubbling, but so that you can like target where you go or something?
No,
or?
but it's just to make an informed decision. Like, do I have to swim out 20 feet and dive down, or
I'll
is
let
it
you
like
make
closer to the edge of the water, and I just have to wade in until my waist or something?
I got you. Yeah,
so
you can make that perception check, sure. And this one, I'm going to say actually that you can do just normally because there is a lot of turbulence below the water because of the, he's not just silent now, he's dealing with Oceanus.
11.
Yeah, Fleos is the one who actually conducted that. 11 though, it's hard to say. Maybe that's the problem. There's too much turbulence in the whole pond. One thing you can say for sure, Waves, is that it's not at the back of that 60-foot expanse of the pond. It's definitely in this front 30 feet for sure. But you don't know if it's like right next to the bank. He might have just gone straight down, or if he went back like 10 feet. Like if he pulled him diagonally, if you know what I mean, like away from the bank. Could be either.
Okay.
Definitely within 30 feet of the shore, though.
Okay, I'll run up to where I think it might be, and we'll just blindly step into the water there.
Okay. Are you gonna swim underneath to stab? To be clear.
No.
Okay, so you're
I
gonna.
will not get. I'll just like, if I think like it's close enough and just. If I lose my footing and get underwater, then it will be. But it's not my plan to like. I'm not gonna do a seagull.
So then what I'll say we'll do for that is, I will do you sort of what I did for Morthwill. I will have you decide, do you want to go... Do you want to go right, left, or middle of those 30 feet? Where do you think it is? Last time Morthwill tried middle, but obviously that was another turn, and maybe other things have happened now. Do you think left, right, or middle? You make the call, and then we'll see.
Oceanus is left of me, I'll go left. Or was left of me.
Okay.
He was left before he got snagged.
Make your attack at disadvantage. Let's see if you hit something.
Okay, let's see. Come on. Let me do this. Normal row, disadvantage, submit. No, that's wait. 17.
17 hits something. You definitely hit something.
Sorry, Oceanus.
Yeah, right. Oceanus is stabbed in the neck. No, you critically hit Oceanus. No, you don't think it's Oceanus. You definitely hit something. Roll damage.
12 piercing, and I'll expend my last spell slot that I have for additional radiant damage again for 2d8.
Okay. Okay, so, all right, so, yeah, add that, I was going to say.
Wow, great. Another 3 damage, and if the minute is not over, and we still have the Fury of the Tides going, I'll use the push action of Fury of the Tides, just to maybe make the croc more visible. It would get more damage if I hit it into an obstacle, but it's a lake, so there's no obstacle, but just
Right.
to like, push.
Now, to be clear, that's a push or a pull? It
It's-
matters.
You can choose to push the target 10 feet away.
Okay. What direction are you pushing it?
Sure.
Can't
Like,
do that
I-
from
I-
where... Can't do that.
Like, well, then at least diagonally, not directly into the lake, but more diagonally.
I got you. Okay. But like, yeah, I follow. Okay. All right. So you strike down, and there's this, and underneath the water, Oceanus, you sort of gripped in the jaws of this beast. You hear this almost bubbling, and this rumble that shakes the lake. The buzzing above, all of you hear the buzzing of the lake intensifies. The snakes in the treetops hiss. And there is this horrible, just sound of this gurgling cry. And then you feel the body of the creature go limp. A second before, you feel a as you are jerked forward. Now, the good news is the creature doesn't seem to be moving. The bad news is it still has you, and it hasn't surfaced. However, of course, you can breathe underwater as you are a sea elf. However, you are still held under by it. You don't think it's moving anymore. But I'm not going to take us out of initiative yet because we need to figure out what happens with Oceanus here. Waves, it appears your blow may well have struck home. We will see what the effect of that is, though. And you ran into the water, so your move is already done. That was a good turn. Oceanus, it is your turn. You are held by this creature, which seems to have, its mouth is tightening in what may be a kind of rigor mortis now. What do you want to try to do?
Can I, assuming I don't feel like it's gonna break, can I try and use the trident as a lever?
Yes.
Kind of pry open the mouth and
Make a strength
my way out of this.
Make a strength check for me. I'll give that to you at advantage because A, underwater where you thrive, and B, trident.
Okay. Strength. Are you not gonna just make the? Oh. Okay, I'm gonna have to do it manually, I guess. It's not letting me click.
Oh, really? The strength check?
Yeah.
You should be able to just click the actual stat, right?
Yeah. No, I'm clicking it and it's not doing anything.
Hmm.
Oh, the name.
Ah. 17. I would say that's probably fine. So you kind of lever back out and sort of kick it through. And there's a moment at the top where you all have this rather horrified moment of seeing what essentially looks like a bubble of dark red liquid, but whose, coming to the water. And then a second later, Oceanus surfaces, and then a second after him, a large, green, floating, ancient, and now come to the end of its ancient reign creature floats to the surface on its back. Thousand Teeth is destroyed.
No one died. Yay!
And there's a silence that sets in over the swamp.
Oceanus walks over to one of the lily pads that's shining and slices it. Or I guess forks it.
You do that at advantage. You get quadruple sneak attack damage. The lily pad was the actual, it was the actual boss.
Both of them watch this, just like, must be a sea elf thing.
So the creature rises to the surface and is now dead. I will let you folks role play that out a second while I try to figure out this music thing. Also, I'm really sorry, party. I don't know where this tavern thing is coming from. There's literally nothing playing on my end at all.
It
just
seems to be a
empty.
Roll20 thing from it's just Flames is the only person who's mentioned it.
I just feel bad.
So it's like, at least it's not just me now.
I feel bad. I wish I could do anything to stop it. I don't.
It was
It's
just funny
not
because
me.
the combat music faded out. There was the dramatic moment, and then
Yeah.
Oh my goodness.
I do think it's a Roll20 bug. I don't think it's like you're hosting it or
Yeah.
us listening to it. I do just think it's a Roll20
it doesn't even
thing.
say the music's playing when you
No.
look.
I
not there.
just don't. Okay, well, I'll add some Saltmarsh and Bubbling Pools. Chat, by the way, you were watching what was a pretty epic fight from the amazing D&D with GOG crew. This is episode 356 of Pen and Pixels, and this is day something very far along into Ghosts of Saltmarsh with Pyre and Jade, Darksaber 2K, Peripheral Mike, Inanda, and Fleos joining us. And for those, there were a lot of questions in chat who seem to be really enjoying this. Why wouldn't they? But I noticed that some of that got asked anyway. Do we have podcasts this second GOG campaign? Yeah, as Fleos said, Esther, not yet. I mean, poor Fleos. Like the audio podcast, and I encourage you to listen to this. I have listened to all of the, just about caught up, I think, all of the audio podcasts that Fleos has done of our Storm, the King's Thunder campaign, which was really awesome. And so this is the next logical one to go. I don't want to speak for Fleos, but these have definitely been very popular with people listening to them. So, and if you do like them, can I ask you all humbly to subscribe to get them where you get your podcasts? Please let people know. Please tell the people at GOGCom's upper, besides Pyre and Jade, who already knows this, but the upper brass at GOGCom, you know what I mean? Like the leaders. Please tell Henry Cavill that we would like him, please, to run a campaign. No, I'm joking about that. But no, you should totally, though, let people know that you like this on this channel and you would like to see more tabletop style content. And we have tons of role-playing games of all kinds here, video games and otherwise. But if you like tabletop content, please let people know, and please follow all these amazing players because they're awesome, as you just saw. Okay, with that said, players, as we head back to the game, let me get rid of Thousand Teeth, who is Sir no longer appearing in this picture. Okay, so he rises to the surface and is just kind of floating along there.
Silver
Who looks
runs.
the most injured?
Well,
I mean, we have a plucked chicken standing in the lake at the moment.
Yeah, the guy who was chomped by the crocodile was probably in the worst shape. If you're going to base that on.
Yeah, and I think Morthil will run up to Oceanus and jab him with one of his little green crystal devices and do a cure wounds on him.
Okay.
I'll just, I know the combat's over, but we don't want him to stub his toe on the way back.
There is that troll that we still left behind.
Yeah.
Roar.
Well, Cass.
He comes out of the water. Aha. You know.
All right. Oh no, it's not doing the macro. Let me just.
He's like, I saw a flaming crossbow. Where are you?
and some glowing dust in the air.
Yeah.
All right,
There you go,
Thousand
7
Teeth,
points
time
of
for our
damage.
poker game.
Oh,
Wait,
thank you very
who
much.
slew my friend?
Thousand Teeth, no!
Damn it. Yeah, exactly. Let's get that platoon moment where he just drops to the ground. All right.
I'll try to drag Thousand Teeth closer to the shore.
I'm also going to help that because we need to. I think we need to get a trophy of some description
Yeah.
so we can
All
prove that-
1,000 teeth.
Okay.
Take his
Was it
head.
the head?
One
You start
by-
now. 1 tooth an hour.
Yeah.
Okay, so you're back up to 14, I think you have, Oceanus.
Yes, yeah.
And by the way, now we're done with the shield toad, yeah? Morthwell?
Well, technically, it still lasts for an hour.
Oh, for an hour?
Yes.
Oh, okay. Well,
So
then...
yeah, time tracking is going to be a bit of a thing with
Okay.
these.
So go find the troll before it expires. And then I'm sure there's nothing else dangerous in the swamp. Okay. Great. So that works. Yeah, you can start. I think, Brian, if you and Waves both do this, it probably will be okay. Now, it is floating, but you're astonished, both of you. Obviously, the fact that you are a creature of the water really helps this, Brian, helps the swimming, but it's something with its bulk is still not easy to move. How it had that level of agility. Obviously, the strength is there, but the agility was the surprising thing and its wiliness. So you bring it to the water where indeed you see this fabulously large crocodile creature, just, jaws open, lying on the ground. And disturbingly, both eyes, still yellow eyes open and staring up at you.
One with a couple of crossbow bolts hanging out of it, though.
Right. Exactly. Yes, several of them as you Robin Hooded it. Like you just, one and then the crossbow bolt split the other one. So, yeah. So you can do that.
So
yeah.
we were supposed
Sorry,
to
meanwhile,
bring
Silver
back
is just
the
running
head.
down from the bank.
I'm sorry, say that again, Mike. What?
Sorry, meanwhile, Silvo is just running down from the bank.
Gotcha. Okay. And then, Pyron, what were you saying?
So what was it that we were supposed to bring? The whole head?
I think we were supposed to bring the whole head back.
Goodness me. Okay. I take out a small knife. And Waves, who by now, a few of my feathers turned white from the acid damage I got on the ship. I lost a lot of feathers when in this fight, so I look like I don't look so good, and I now very sadly start cutting away on the tough skin of the giant crocodile.
Waves, where are you at the minute, physically?
I think I'm the edge of the water.
Right.
I don't think we can drag it out, so it must be still lying in the water.
Yeah,
a bit,
you can get the head out enough that it's just bobbing at the
Yeah.
edge, basically. Yeah.
So you're on the shore, water to your ankles or calves or whatever.
Yeah.
Okay,
Yeah.
cool. You see Silver running towards you with tears in his eyes. He looks like he's gonna fall over. He's running that hard.
Okay, I run out of the water and try to steady him.
Okay, there's
and
no
look at
opportunity
him.
to steady him. He wraps his arms around you and is just like, "Oh my god, I thought I lost you. I'm so glad you're okay."
I pat him on the back and try to make the appropriate nice sounds. So it's like it's like a
There's
little
non-scared chicken noises.
yeah, like a bird troll here, then a mother's there, like all of it in rapid succession.
Okay, there's a long hug, and you separate, and you see there's just streams of tears coming out of his eyes, and he's just like, don't do that to me again, okay?
I nod ferociously, just hoping there's no other crocodile like this in the world.
Then he realizes that most other people have probably seen this, so he quickly wipes his face with his sleeve and just gets some dirt and stuff out of his hair and rubs it on his face to sort of cover the fact that he's been crying. He's so what are we doing now?
Waves takes out a nice white handkerchief and starts cleaning your face.
No, stop it. Brian started doing that earlier. Stop it. I'm okay.
Brian's just got a scimitar out and just is hacking away at this crocodile's neck.
But also,
No one
just
have a hunting
writing in
knife.
his journal, just to, heel toe test successful. Clarifier needs work.
Experiment 1642. Success.
I'm already appalled at trying to look up research on how to cut off a crocodile's head, and I immediately saw saw 4 awful headlines, and I'm like, nope, don't even care.
No,
So now we're just gonna
make
have
it
to.
up. Just make it up.
Yeah. Well, I'm trying. Yeah.
This will be bad for your search results in the future. I tell
Yeah,
you.
no, I know. Great. Yeah, the algorithm is why would you? Fortunately, I don't think they're going to be look, he's a real threat in southern Connecticut, the heavy crocodile population, where it's been currently 15 degrees on average, is definitely.
So Silver just sort of tucks his hand into his coat, and he's like, "Yeah, that looks like a Brian thing to do. I'm gonna make sure everything's safe over here, away from the water and the things with teeth." He just sort of walks away.
Ozias is gonna keep an eye out for sea snakes or 1,000 crocodile babies that suddenly come to investigate their mother or something
It
like
was
that.
1,000 babies, not 1,000 teeth. Ah. Okay.
Translation
error.
pulls out a sword from his carpus kit and just holds it over to him. He's like, yeah, this might help better, but I'm going to be over and just
Oh,
walks
that's
off.
perfect. And
Now
I'm just checking how sharp it is, and I'm like soaring away.
Right. So this is what I was going to say about that. This is going to be important because we are obviously dealing a little bit with a time crunch for you folks in game. I mean, as of right now, given all that we were talking about, you had about 7 hours. You're about 6 hours now remaining before you have to return. So the question is, how fast can you do this? The problem is the thickness of its hide. I mean, this is one of the things that you had issues with when you were, you should have had difficulties with, except Brian was, Robin Hood multiple times. But in sort of shooting at it, it feels like it might take a while, unless Morthwill, that thing that you gave is like, I know you said it's a carpenter's saw.
Mm-hmm.
So 30 inches, roughly.
I mean, out of face here, not a butcher.
If
it was good enough for Isaiah, it's good enough for 1,000 Tooth. All right, just saw that thing in half.
Yeah, that's true. If it's 30 inches, you can, and it's that. You could probably saw through.
16, if that helps.
Say again.
I've got a strength of 16, if that helps.
Is it just you, or is anyone is it like a 2-person thing where one person grabs it just goes back and forth, or?
Like a full bow saw that came out.
Yeah. Right.
Morthwill's bag of
Right,
bolts.
exactly. Well, this is likely, by the way, Morthwill, it's like someone using your precious modeling X-Acto knife to butcher a turkey and being like, all right, thanks. It's not.
Cheers. It's a bit nicked.
It's a bit problematic. This is not a
The best tool for
Ginsu.
the job, but he can't watch this happen.
Not a Ginsu knife.
I'll try to assist Brian by steadying the crocodile and stuff like that. So
I guess I would say if we're talking about 16. Well, I tell you what. Now this, I'm not trying to be unfair. I'm just working with what's here. You do have a level of exhaustion, Brian. If you do it at a regular pace, by which I mean not just slow. I mean you are kind of hurrying, but it's not at the absolute top conceivable pace you could sustain. If you're going to do that, you could probably get, let's say, an inch cut in 5 minutes to cut through an inch of skin, because you are having to cut through its spine too. I mean, it's a lot. So I feel like that's not unreasonable. That 5 minutes for an inch means, quickly doing math, you're talking about 12 times 5. So you would get 12 inches cut in an hour. So it would take you 2 hours and 15 minutes, roughly speaking. 2 hours and 15 minutes to cut this thing's head off if you were just going to go at this pace. At the end of which Morthwill's blade will not be able to cut a thread of hair. What? I'm sorry. What did you ask me?
How long did it take us to get here? It was longer than 4 and a bit hours, wasn't it?
It was, but part of the reason for that was you took kind of you took that sort of winding position to get up on the river, but I think that most of that was actually about as fast as you could get, because this sort of going directly overland. Oh no, I think what we said was that the land over route was faster but way more dangerous. I think is what we said. So you took the boat route, which was kind of a middle route.
Did, yeah.
The easiest route, that's what it was. The least dangerous route was this way, but that would have also taken the longest because you had to go all the way outside of the marsh and then back in. So instead, you did the river, which was kind of the middle approach. So it took you, I think, a total of, I don't actually recall at the top of my head. If the players do, I'd appreciate it. I don't remember how many hours it took you to get here.
The only thing I think I was just keeping track of how long we had left. I put last time check I wrote was 9 hours taken, 7 remain.
Okay, then it was probably 9 hours then. So I think it took you 9 hours to get there. So 6 hours remain. So you have, again, a lovely choice before you. If you take the 2.5 hours, 2 hours and 15 minutes, but then you need to actually load it up and stuff. So I think 2.5 hours. That will give you then 3.5 hours to get back. That means then that the only way you're going to be able to make it back is if you cut directly across land. And if you do that, two things. One, everyone's going to have to pull the weight. Two, everyone is going to suffer a level of exhaustion because you're doing this directly through the marsh. And three, you are subject to potential attack because it's not going to be quiet. You can't be stealthy dragging the head of 1,000 teeth across the marsh.
Well,
with
we
whom
do
the
have
residents
a-
are all too familiar.
We do have a certain dwarf that has a bag of holding as well.
Yeah, Chad mentioned that.
Could we fit a crocodile in
quick-
a bag of holding?
Quick question: how are you fitting it in the bag of holding?
Yeah, I was going to say the entrance of the bag of holding is a specifically given size.
Now, quick question. They said we needed to take the whole head. They didn't say it couldn't be in pieces. I mean,
it
that
would take
obviously.
even longer to cut up then.
Yeah, you could like
I'm-
spiral cut it. Like,
Look.
if I
I'm just
fillet it.
throwing ideas out here.
We brought a jigsaw.
Yeah, we've completed
Some
some
assembly
assembly
required.
required, and you tip the bag of holding up and just like.
Now, there's another option, which is the third option, the worst option. No, the third option is, Brian, you could basically like absolutely blow out your arm, more or less, just like, as to get this thing off. And then that would accelerate the process somewhat. I would say that if you worked at absolute, till beyond the limits of physical endurance, then I would say that you could probably cut down this time by an hour. So you could probably cut it down to like an hour and a half to cut the head off. But if you do that, you're going to absolutely take another level of exhaustion. There's going to be no saving throw for that. You're already exhausted and hurt.
Okay.
Question.
Northwheel has carpenter tool proficiency. Can that help?
Only if it's made out of wood. No, I'm being snarky. What's your strength, Northwell?
0.
Yeah.
10.
I
So,
think
yeah,
the
no
biggest
modifier.
problem is not even, it's not like, I assume Brian isn't trying to be like, I need to make sure that the presentation is good for the table. Like, I think you're just hacking it off, right? So I don't
Yeah.
think it's about how good it looks, honestly. So the carpenter's proficiency really is the idea of actually being able to craft things. This is just brute strength, cut the damn thing.
Okay. How about could the rest of the party, if this is going to take me an hour and a half, I'm absolutely going to go ham on a biscuit and I'm going to get this head off as quickly as possible. Could the rest of the party have maybe a short rest while I'm doing that?
I would say so. Yes, I think you could probably get that within there.
Can we take
How does that
turns
sound?
at sawing to avoid the level
Well-
of exhaustion, or all of us that are like not that strong as Brian useless at sawing?
I have already got a level of exhaustion, which I'm going to have until I have a long rest anyway. So, you might have to carry me you might have to Samwise Gamgee me the last couple of bits, but
Northwheel also doesn't need a short rest.
I do.
Since he did come through that unscathed from just being second line support.
Yeah, I'm
But
kind of
I-
okay.
But on the other hand, like you say, since we're trying to brute force the head, he can't really help that much with misusing his tools either.
we need to bring back proof. Otherwise, they're not going to believe us.
Should be the requested proof, otherwise they might try and wriggle out of it. We bring a tooth, they'll be like, oh, that tooth could have been anyone's.
Yeah, we need to bring absolute proof that we have killed 1,000 teeth. I think this is the only way we can do it.
Okay, I want to help, but I'll take the 15 minutes of short rest when I can get it, because I have an idea.
Okay. All right. So then, Silvo is. So who's getting who's going to take the opportunity for the short rest? I guess. At the end of which, by the way, the shield toad will not be functional anymore. not for the moment.
I'm already. You said this was going to take over an hour,
Yeah.
so that's
Okay. So sorry. So
Counted for.
who said they are? Brian can't for the reasons we just discussed. Waves
I will.
is. Right. Okay. Wave
Yes, I'll
is.
need it.
Oceanus, you are, I assume.
Yeah, that's probably a good idea.
Okay. And Morthwell does not need it, so are you not so do you want to do any, you can do other things during a short rest. or
Unless I can help heal up someone further, there's not a lot really, since I don't have the strength to help with
Right.
decapitating a nightmare monster god crocodile.
True. Probably fair. Many could not necessarily. Okay, so then I guess what we would say is let's have Brine. Sorry, not Brine. Let's have Waves and Oceanus. Where were you going to ask me, Waves? Sorry.
I would like to expend a hit die to heal.
Okay, great. That's what I was going to ask. So if you're going to use one of your hit dice, that's great. How many are you using? Do you have... Whoops, sorry, I lost everybody. Give me a second. Hold on.
No, I'm still here. 3.
Okay, you have 3. So you're gonna use 3 of them, or you have 3 left?
I don't know what's gonna expect us where we're a bit. Yeah, so I should use them all, right? That makes the most sense.
Yeah, I mean,
guess.
I don't see why hold on to it.
Yeah, that's what I think. So it's D10 plus Constitution.
Okay, there we go. Sorry about that, chat.
Yeah, I just lost. There it is. I just lost the whole browser, but it's back. So it's 3d10 plus Constitution. Do I have Constitution?
You add the con to each roll.
Yeah.
Yeah.
So,
Okay.
so 3d10 plus 9. Just gonna do it in one roll.
Okay.
Wow. Oh, that's 1d10. Okay, I'm sorry. I'm gonna redo it. 3d10 plus 9. I'm sorry, because we can't figure this one out.
Okay.
3d10 plus 9. Which is not that much better, but still.
Well, okay, so 19.
Oh, God.
What?
19, yes. I'm sorry, I just misclicked.
31!
Okay,
Yeah,
so
that would have been much better.
oh
But
well, so
this takes
19.
me up to
So
30.
30. Yeah. Okay, and then Oceana. So same
Zero
for
hit
you.
die.
How many hit dice you have left? You still have 4 left.
None. No, I've got
So
none.
you got none. Oceanus, how many do you have left? Do you have 4 left, or
I've got 4. I was going to use 2 of them.
okay? You may proceed.
Oh, hi.
Hello. Oh, hello there. All right. So we're looking at 14. Oh yeah, never better. You're trident, by the way. Now, clearly seasoned with the meat. Hello.
They're saying hi. They can't hear them. They're saying hi. Here, I'll use this.
Good lord.
Hiya.
How fast they
Hello.
grow. I remember
Seriously.
so well being shown on stream.
She wasn't even born when I started streaming.
Our webcams are frozen on stream.
Oh. Really? That's weird. It shouldn't be, because I have everything back up where it was. Okay, I'll fix that.
Yours and Fleos's haven't.
There we go. Now we're all back, I think. Okay. Great. I was focusing just on the delightful child, all right? All of you can just stay frozen. No.
Yeah, absolutely.
All right.
We're secondary.
So, okay, so that's good. So Oceanus 28 to 30, Hale and Hardy, same for Waves. The only one not Hale and Hardy is Brian, who like sawing back and forth. Okay, so at the end of that hour and a half, which is what I said we would say, you finally, with one last exhausted, just kind of like, finally cut the last piece or the last bit of this thing apart, and the head kind of rolls, the body sinks into the water, and then the head rolls into the water and is lost forever. No, I'm just kidding. That would be so cruel. It doesn't do that. It just lays
We all
there.
just look at Brian, just like, well, in you go.
Well,
I tried. I'm sorry.
I can't
My arms
do
are
it.
so sore.
All right, so that means that Brian is now suffering from 2 levels of exhaustion. The big issue with this is that Brian's speed is halved until this exhaustion is restored. To be clear, a long rest will restore 1 level of exhaustion, and it needs to be a long rest, not a short rest, unless it's somehow magically aided, and there are some spells which can do that. But otherwise, Brian is not going to be able to keep up with you folks. Although it partly depends now on the route that you want to take, because now we have, by my math, 4.5 hours remaining, because it was an hour and a half total to cut. So you have 4.5 hours remaining. So that means you have very, very little wiggle room. Your only real chance, it looks like, is going to be to cut across land. And that means everybody's going to have to pull together somehow, even Brine. But I guess I won't enforce the speed thing if all of you are doing it together. That's probably not as big a deal. But it's going to be a, exhausting journey for everybody. And there's the worry about, like alerting the whole swamp. But it's up to you.
Piggybacks for Brian then. He could take turns.
Yeah, sure. Why not? Hop on.
I point.
Right, so
looks
I
up
was gonna
at
say
Brian.
collapses.
I point to Brian and point towards the boat. I point to Brian again. I point towards the boat again.
You think I should take the boat by myself?
I look to Silvo and point to the boat.
You want me and Brian to go in the boat? I turn to Brian. I think she wants me and you in the boat.
I think she does. There's a troll that way, right?
I make with the fingers. I make a walking movement. I point towards Brian and I make a very slow walking movement.
I know. I might slow you down. What do you think?
Because if I understood it correctly, we're not gonna make it overland at Brian's speed, right?
No, I said that I would be willing, because it's all of you pulling together. I will overlook
okay.
the speed reduction in this case, because it's not like any of you are going to
okay,
be
then.
like kicking butt on speed with this.
Okay, well then this suggestion can be ignored.
Silver's
That's
just like,
similar to-
just give me a rope. I'll do my best. Just sort of pulls his coat sleeves up, and you see that his arms are about as thick as the rope itself.
Well, I mean, I don't know that I would be able to help fight if Silvo and I were on our own. So I would rather stay together.
No, that's true.
I know.
But if we were in the boat and you were, say, resting, I'm a lot quieter than most of you are. So I could potentially, if there's no problem on time, I could probably be a lot quieter, even in a boat.
But there wouldn't be enough time for a long rest in the boat, though, would there?
No, but you could grab a short rest. Like you could rest, and more importantly, if you're resting in a boat, you're not, clanking around, throwing those things around. You have motions to your scimitars. Like, don't get me wrong, you're good when you move, but you're loud. So you're not a quiet woman, is what I'm trying to say.
I can be quiet. My stealth skills are pretty good.
Brian, you're the one the troll heard.
I was, yes. I was trying to be fast, not quiet.
Excellent. That's a total bluff, because I'm pretty sure it was Silver that failed the check last session.
It was me.
Well,
Oh, was it you?
Brian is exhausted. She doesn't know what she's saying at the moment.
Ace. Well, the lie worked. The
So we're
bluff
just
works.
taking advantage of the exhaustion to gaslight Brian right now.
Was it me? I'm so sorry. Oh no, that troll nearly got us as well. Oh god.
Did nearly has, but
There
you
go.
you selflessly put yourself in harm's way to speed the boat up. So you made up for it.
Yeah, and nobody said anything offensive to the troll, so that is...
No.
It's fine.
Right.
It's fine.
So we think we can pull this with time across open ground as long as we're all pulling
Yeah.
together.
Yeah,
Yep.
and as I mentioned, there is going to be there'll be consequences of you folks with potential exhaustion, and there is the danger of attracting attention from unwanted parties. But you may not have a lot of other options.
I mean, how many other unwanted parties would take on a group that's dragging a massive crocodile head?
Very hungry ones?
People
true.
people that now know that the giant ancient crocodile is dead.
Power
That is-
vacuum.
Can I ask a question before we make a final decision? The bullywogs. That was another option.
Oh,
to try.
yes.
They're not in this swamp, are they?
They are in the overall swamp where they live, yes. They're not in this region because they certainly don't live within, anywhere close to the lair of
Biting
Thousand Teeth.
distance of Thousand Teeth.
Right. But, again, the question is how long until they pick it up? You know that they are evil creatures and that they are certainly very cunning and are always looking for ways to kind of gain the upper hand on others. So, but you don't know. I mean, listen, they don't have instantaneous live streaming technology. Like, we're reporting from the fall of Thousand Teeth. Like, it may take a little while for them to figure it out.
Longer than a few hours, I'm assuming.
Right.
And they're not immediately going to be like, quick, follow the head drag.
Yeah,
Just a
exactly.
big drag mark in the swamp.
Yeah.
It's not sunk yet.
It's this whole Witcher vision, right? Like they just come up to it and they're just like, something's been here. Princess Bride. There was a battle. One of them, there was a trident, and then a head was cut off.
Why has someone left an entirely perfectly good giant crocodile carcass here?
Headless carcass.
Yeah, exactly. Or they'll come here and they'll think, oh my god, what bit off Thousand Teeth's head? Why, it's bigger than Thousand Teeth. Yeah.
If they come closer, I'm gonna make the T-Rex noise again.
Yeah. I think you should. I definitely think you should.
Okay, let's go. And I would like to be constantly on the lookout or listening for anything that might approach us. And if I get the feeling that something dangerous approaches us, I'll cast Marine Layer, and this is the fog that moves with us, but only for a very short amount of time. So it's really when I think there's something, so that hopefully it conceals us enough that nothing will attack us.
Okay.
I'm going to just try and be as quiet as possible, but I know that's probably futile.
Okay. Silver.
Quick question.
Yeah.
During the short rest, how long was the short rest?
It was basically as long as it took for the head to be removed. So about an hour and a half.
About an hour and a half.
Yeah.
So Silver didn't need a short rest. So he was just walking around the water pool. Did I find anything good other than bones and mud?
Let me have you make a perception check.
Excellent. I don't have the window open. That's performance, not perception. I wish it was. 19.
Yeah, I mean, there's no question that in the back of the sort of the pond area, that you think you can see some things that look like glittering somethings or other at the bottom of the muck of the pond.
Okay, I'll just lay this out for you. Silvo's not above poop diving. All right. If there's gold in if there's something valuable in Thousand Teeth's poop, he will try. There's water nearby. He can clean it off.
Right. Okay. Well, taking a shot at toxoplasmosis. All right. You can. That's only cats.
I don't
not
even know what that word
crocodiles.
means.
It's this cat litter thing.
Silvo doesn't even know what that means.
No,
I
Silvo
know what that means. I own
doesn't.
two
That's
cats.
true. I was gonna say you would definitely know. Yeah. Okay. Right. Silvo would have no idea.
No
All right.
clue.
Doesn't
Doesn't even know what a germ is.
There is, and I should say that towards the back is this great muddy mound, very much towards the back. The combat all took place in the water in front, but there was this muddy mound that was towards the center back, basically, of the pool. And behind that, you can see what might look like sort of some glinting or something like that below the surface. So if you're going to dive down beneath, or are you going to, you're just Geronimo, or are you letting anyone know first, or what's your plan?
Is this underwater?
Yes, the glitter is coming from below the water. It's not necessarily 50 feet down, or you wouldn't be able to see it, but it's definitely below the water where you'd have to be submerged to get to it.
Yeah, no, he's got no problem with that. Weirdly, he's going to take his coat off first, even though he's been thrown in the water before. But standards and all that. He doesn't want to be cold and dragging a giant crocodile head through the jungle.
Okay.
So he's going to take his coat off and just sort of slowly lower his way into the water. not Geronimo style, but like as slowly as he can down the bank of mud, just sort of like wade his way in to where the glittery stuff is.
Okay. As you sort of lower yourself down, you're conscious of how, especially in this area, how turgid the water feels, how viscous almost it feels, like slimy and not as liquidy as it feels, almost like blubbery, like kind of fat sliding on your skin. And as you finally sink below the surface to get to what's there, you realize what might be the case. There's a moment where because obviously you're not going to be blindly, trying to find it, where your eyes open underwater, and there are a couple of shafts of light from above that just sort of pierce down into the water, and you see a moment where there's all these little sparkles in actual water, reflecting the glittering from below you, and you're like, oh wow, isn't that beautiful for a moment? And then you realize that all of the little bits and all the sort of things around you look like they feel like something, and you can feel a couple things brush against your skin, and then you realize that these must be thousands and thousands of fragments of bone. In fact, there must be thousands of fragments of bones down here and teeth, and in fact the whole water feels like it is as much blood as water. And as you sort of get down to the mud itself, you can feel the uncleanness of the place almost seep its way into your pores. As you finally get down to that, if it is mud at the bottom, you can try to scoop it up if you like.
I'll give it a go, even though I'm now essentially stuck in a blood snow globe.
Okay. Yeah, I mean, you don't have to do a check for that. You can.
I'm already
reach
there.
down.
So
You find two things, Silvo, when you reach down. First, you're able to pick up a glitter of what, it feels like maybe a handful of coins and maybe a couple of small gems. And there's also what feels like, at first you think you're going to grab that. And of course, you're having to do this. I'm accelerating the description, but, this is, you're underwater. So this is not, you don't have too long to make this call because you're holding your breath. But you then reach out with your other hand to get the other thing, and you you pull up, and it's definitely not coins, and it's definitely not gems. And then as you pull through, you can see that it actually looks like a jewel-encrusted cutlass hilt. And the blade of it seems to be stuck in the mud under the water, but it is rammed stuck. And your air is starting to go, and you're starting to feel nauseous, etc.
okay. Can I, during this time, come up, leave whatever mud-encrusted glittery stuff I found on shore, and then go back down for the cutlass?
Theoretically. I mean,
yeah, I'll do that then.
Okay, so you dump that stuff out. I need you to make, please, for me, a Constitution saving throw.
Of course you do. Oh, I need this open, don't I? That is a awful roll. 5. But thematically probably on point.
Yeah. You are poisoned by the sort of hideousness of this thing. And so, for those of you in chat who are curious about this, people who are poisoned have several unfortunate effects. It basically means that they have disadvantage on all attack rolls and ability checks. So you feel sick to your stomach, weak and dizzy. Time to go get more treasure in the terrible, sickening, bone-infested...
Yeah, well, I don't know I'm poisoned at this point. It's not like, oh no, status ailment. It's like, oh, I probably shouldn't have done that. So yeah, I'm definitely going to go back for the cutlass. Like, okay. I'll feel it in like half an hour. Don't get me wrong. When my stomach starts to lurch.
Okay. Actually, the only other person I think who's up at this time, who's not working sawing away the water, is Morthwill, right? But I don't imagine that Morthwill is probably looking direct. I mean, you tell me, but I don't think Morthwill you're looking directly at. Are you? At Silvo?
No, I don't think he would have been. Like, Silvo's been absent for a lot of the proceedings from his point of view. Insofar as like he's not been in front of him, so Silvo slipping off isn't out of character at this point. So he's just like, my poor saw.
He's somewhere. He's about. The kid's about somewhere.
Yeah, he's around.
I'm just every sort of sweep of the saw is just going across my soul right now.
Yep. You just hear. Anyone who's ever driven a car knows the experience, like a manual transmission, which is not all of you in this chat. But if you've ever driven a manual transmission, you will know the experience of having heard someone who didn't know what they were doing forget to pull in the clutch when they tried to change gears. I had a friend once who was such a bad driver, he stripped all 4 gears in a car once because he panicked. So he was driving along and with his teacher, he's like, all right, you got to switch down. And he goes, and the teacher's like, no. And he's like, like basically just chewed up like half the engine. So it's not a pleasant sound. So while that's happening, Silvo goes back under now. Silvo, I'm going to need you to make a strength check here to pull this cutlass loose.
Okay. We'll see the state of the saw when I give him
6.
Yeah. 6, huh? So you're like, as you pull somewhat uselessly at it.
Realistically, Silver's probably only going to be able to stomach this for so much longer. How many more times can he go up for air and come down and try and pull the cutlass out again?
Hard to say because you don't yet know what the cumulative effects might be.
Okay.
So far, you've only had one nice exposure effect.
Okay. Oh, so you're going to stack this, I see.
I mean,
So,
it's nature.
Waves,
I'm just its messenger.
Waves is sitting like at a quiet corner on the beach and like resting, eating, tending to her wounds and all of this, and maybe like has a little eye over the lake, like, okay, he is still diving, so he must still be alive. If he starts
Bubbles.
screaming loudly or looks like he's dead, I should maybe get into action.
He's scooping mud for some reason. I don't know what he's doing.
What do I know what the half-elf youth nowadays do?
Yeah.
So I'll just sit there
Mud
and,
diving, it's all the craze.
and like have a little look over the lake, like, okay.
It's this great new social media for half-elves. It's called Shitcroc.
Oh, jeez. Really?
You're all welcome for that.
Take 75 psychic heart damage. No.
Yes.
No. All right. Okay. So you're going to take another swing at it because you do have to come back up and go back down. You don't go all the way to the shore this time.
Come up for air and then deep breath down.
Con saving throw, please, before you come back out.
Throw. Go on, mouse cursor. I know you're there somewhere. Yeah. That one is excellent. A 5, worse than last time, and a critical fail.
You burst into poisonous flames. Not quite that bad, but you do feel your poisoning getting worse. You are going to take. You are going to take a total of 4 points of poison damage.
How long do those temporary hit points last?
We don't have them now.
Oh, damn it. I'll just get rid of those. There we go. Okay. I feel unwell.
Indeed. You're going to take another shot?
Oh, yeah.
Okay. All right.
Strength check, yes.
Sure.
Sure, why not? 4.
This thing is not coming loose.
I'm doing this
it's
one
also
more.
Getting worse. It's never. Which is, again,
this one more.
We're
crack on. I swear.
All right, so you come back on. Another con save, please.
Yeah, another con save. Come on, I'm good at con saves. Apparently that good.
Not good enough.
Not good enough, friend.
You take 8 more points of poison damage.
Okay. He says with an upwards inflection.
Okay, so I would say at this point, Waves and Morthwill, you see him looking awfully green. Silvo preparing to go back and
vomit and then come back in.
Basically.
that would have drawn attention.
And then Waves, feeling much better. And then back in.
11.
This thing does not want to dislodge.
All right, I'm out.
Okay, you come back out, and I need one last con save from you.
Excellent.
Just lean over to Wade. She's like, what the bleeding hell's he doing?
7.
I shrug very expressively and keep staring over the lake, just like a bird can. Like,
Can I
see-
cast a spell just before?
Can you do
this?
so when you're
supposed to be
unconscious?
vomiting blood.
I
Because
can't.
you take 7 points of damage.
God damn it.
So you see Silvo emerge, vomit, and then just plunge face first into the water, and is just floating there now.
oh no.
I'm still soaring away. Could someone sort out
I
Silver?
Yeah,
know,
this was all retconned. But this is all happening while you're sawing, by the way, Frank.
I just wanted to find some gold.
Oh, we left
I'm not
Silvo
sure-
unsupervised, didn't we?
In fairness,
I'm
I
not
was
sure-
completely
I-
unsupervised.
I just shake Oceanus and point towards that because he's the fastest swimmer, I'm pretty sure.
I'm running over.
I'm resting. All right, so
Yeah, that's true. Actually,
It's a good point,
Oceanus
yeah.
can help. If not, if he's going to get the bonus, the benefit.
It's me and you,
This
Waves.
is this is
Yeah,
Morthwill
me
and Waves.
neither. I can't. I
Oh no,
also
you can't. That's
help
right.
because-
Okay,
It's up to
resting.
Morthwill.
I take out my hempen rope and just kind
Here
of toss
he
it in
comes to
Morthawheel's
save the day.
direction. Like,
Yeah, no, you definitely
the
can,
rope around
Oceanus. You
my
got to
arm.
rest. Same thing with Waves.
I'm running
Yeah.
over.
We've already established that you guys have rested.
Yeah, so it's got to be Morthwill or nobody.
Yeah.
So yep, that's on me then. I'm running over.
Okay, I mean, and he is floating, so you can just kind of like pull
Elbow.
him gradually back. When you pull him back in, you can see that he's unconscious, and he actually is. He may not be stable, Morthwill. He looks badly poisoned, and he looks also like his skin is green. And I really don't want to get. I'm not going to over graphic this, but there also look like there may be some little bumps on his skin. He looks in a bad way.
I'm not putting my lips on that. I'm gonna try and pound him on the chest. I assume he's just taking on water at this point,
Okay.
not being any kind of doctor person.
Okay.
This is probably a good time to mention that my life well tattoo will kick in and actually bring me back.
Oh,
So there's a
Right,
sudden
right.
moment. Yeah, there's a sudden moment where you're sort of pounding away on Silvo's chest, and he just sort of goes, and all this green sludge just comes out of his mouth.
Back from that.
hitting Morthwill
Basically
full
the
force,
Exorcist.
takes 70 points. No, I'm just kidding.
Just basically exorcists in a
I'm-
wide arc back into the water.
Definitely going to be changing my pants.
Well, that was interesting. Have I been here long?
I saw you come up and go down a few times, and it looked like you were coughing up blood at one point.
Have you got a
We
pen?
left you alone for 5 minutes.
Yeah. There was a shiny sword in the water stuck in something, so I thought I could get it out. I thought it might be useful and expensive.
Well, shiny
Is it the
swords
same
and
thing?
water
Would
are
we
no
just-
basis for sound financial income.
Clearly, someone who's never gone poop diving in Saltmarsh before, but that may as be. This is, and I look over at where the crocodile is. Like, I look at the sky. So we're still in the swamp. We've not gone anywhere. It's still when I dove into the water.
No, Brian hasn't quite finished ruining me saw yet.
I'm trying. I'm going as fast as I can.
Like this.
Got 2 levels of exhaustion.
Silvo grabs Morthwill's shoulder. You probably don't want him to because he's covered in goop at this point. But he looks at you square in the face, Morthwill, and there's a steely gaze to the way he's looking at you. He's like, I'm soaking wet right now. I can't do this. I need you to write something down for me in case I forget. 8.5 hours. I saw you had a notebook earlier.
I did.
Just put Silvo 8.5 hours.
He's jotted that down. Do we need any context for that, or is it just a reminder?
I'll tell you when we get back. When we get somewhere safer, I need to fill you in on everything, but right now I will forget that this has happened. This has happened before, but I will forget that this has happened. But I just need, and with that, Silver starts to look just really groggy and just starts to feel really sick again and just goes a bit quiet.
All right, let's get you back to the grown-ups.
Oh, I don't feel very well.
Yeah,
I need my,
Luciana's
I need my,
wasn't
I need my
supposed to come
shiny
out.
stuff though. Scoop
Suppose,
up my
yes.
shiny poop.
What does your life bring you back to, by the way? Silver?
1.
Okay. All right. So you remain poisoned, by the way, but you won't continue to take damage. But you,
Oh, good.
you do remain poisoned for an hour. I'm sure you're happy to hear.
Yeah, that's fantastic.
So, so I love that it's like this is so much like leverage or something, where it's just like what actually happened was. So we actually originally, right? We all thought it was just like they march, magnificently across. Instead, it's like Brian, like exhausted, Silvo like stumbling along, like poison, right? But assuming that was all that happened that I needed to know during that time when Brian was sawing
I
away.
mean, that was more
When
than
he
I
got-
thought would have happened.
Go ahead, Wade.
When he comes back, I would like to shout at him a little bit.
Okay.
Okay? Yeah, like, I don't know.
This is no place for the weak or foolhardy.
Just holding my mud-encrusted golden shinies. I'm like, noted. I just walk off. I walk off to clean my poop-covered shinies.
You find, incidentally, that those shinies were about 15 copper pieces.
Worth it.
And then
100%
you
worth
find
it.
5 cubic zirconium. No, I'm joking. You find 3 silvery gems and 2 red gems, all about the same size. Like not enormous size, but decent sized gems, probably about the size of, say, come on, focus camera. That, like kind of a large coin.
Okay, cool. So you said 3 silvery and 2 red.
Yes, 3 silvery and 2 red. All about the same size.
Worth it.
Okay. With that said, it is a weary, exhausted, and poisoned and thoughtful
Poison-filled.
party that makes its way back across the swamp. Now, I do have a question for the party, which is that as you're doing this, as you're making your way back, this is probably a silly question. Are you attempting to be stealthy, or are you attempting to basically just like book it to the extent that you can?
I would like to be as fast as I can whilst being stealthy, but before we set off, I'm going to respectfully try and clear as much gore off the saw and give it back to Morthwell as possible.
You do so.
Missing 2 teeth.
Oh yeah.
then his
Mo-
crooked
2
handle
teeth?
snapped.
Missing about 4 or 5. The blade is sort of twisted and warped, and you sort of hand it back over, and the blade is kind of bent off of one of its in holders, and here's this fine craftsman weapon given to you by your father's father and his father before. No, I'm making all that up. But it definitely is. That was a saw once, Morthwell.
It's a good thing in an hour I can make a new one magically.
Yeah, I mean, listen, it's fine.
Right tool for the job perk for the class, which means I can magically create any tools, but still.
But now you all know, in the future,
Wait.
make sure you make a crocodile saw. You never know.
Wait. You could have created the right tool for the job.
I don't have any proficiencies in butcher's tools before you ask.
So you need the proficiency to make the tool.
As far as I know, yeah. Plus, I don't think-
Because if not, I will just let you
He's
know.
like looking through the manual, and at 5 minutes to the hour, he realizes, oh, this section,
I
I
could've
missed the
made-
part that said crocodile head saw. That
I could have
don't-
made
Yeah.
cleavers. Oh,
You're
sorry,
talking to the
well.
guy who forgot to use fairy fire in the first round of combat. when I
Giant
could see the
eggs would have been
crocodile.
nice.
He's quite an old dwarf, is Morthwell, so his memory's not what it used to be. He's probably forgotten.
You child.
He's probably forgotten. He's forgotten more than he's remembered at this point. Every now and then, he's just like, "Oh yeah, no, I remember how to do that thing."
But Morthwell
Pardon
knows
me,
not
but
to dive
whose
into
notes
poison.
am I currently
so...
carrying around because they forget things?
Fair point taken.
Sorry.
Self-inflicted amnesia.
All right. So Waves calls the shot, and the crew proceeds across the swamp, trying to move as fast as possible. It is probably with about all of you exhausted by the time, or feeling exhausted. And I'm going to need everybody as about, let's say, 4 hours have passed. I will need all of you with the I gotta include Brian in this because Brian's trying to help. So I need all of you to make Constitution saving throws for me, please.
Are we exhausted at the moment?
You will be if you fail this.
Ah, right. Okay.
Oh, that's good. That's good.
17.
15.
Oh, poor Oceanus.
Thematically on brand.
Yeah.
I have a bonus in Constitution saves as well. Who'd have thunk it?
And Waves.
Oof.
Oceanus and Waves, you all now have you both have a level of exhaustion. Who did I say? Oceanus and, no, not Oceanus. Oh, actually 3 of you, I'm sorry. Oceanus, Waves, and Silvo have that. The good news is that by the end, you're not poisoned.
Non-exhausted.
Yeah, exactly. You're not poisoned anymore, though, Silvo. You're just,
Hey, I'm just knackered.
yeah.
Just dying of tired.
In no way, Chad, is this constant dealing with exhaustion have anything to do with something in my personal life the last few years. So, who's that? I thought that was the soundboard. Well, it's appropriate. It's appropriate.
Nice.
So the exhausted party, with the exception of Morthwell, who's never better, manages
strength,
to.
you know.
That's right. Brian is not more exhausted, so that's nice. But everybody makes their way in about a half hour or so. Right about a half hour left if you've been following the time. The moon is now set, and you're sort of just hurrying across the dim landscape. Dawn is not far away. And you can see in the distance what looks like the telltale reduction of water and grass that you've been going through, and you can see the sort of larger mound of where the lizard folk lair is as you're making your way towards it. And in the back of you, you hear a and you hear this sound start to sort of echo around you. It sounds less like you hear that, and then you hear the croaking of hundreds of creatures, and you see eyes alight around all you in the sort of half darkness as we're heading towards dawn. You're only a few minutes away from the lair, though, party. What are you going to do?
Bunch
Waves,
it.
Can you do the lizard thing, the thousand tooth? Can you make the sound of thousand tooth? We'll hold up his head. You make the noise.
There's a good chance we
I
might be
make
able
the
with the
sound of
swamp.
thousand tooth. I do make the sound of thousand tooth. I have it in my soundboard, and I'll conjure up the mist, the fog that will travel with us.
Make a deception check for me, Waves. Do that at advantage.
Okay.
Would this be a
Can
straight
I
roll because
cast
of exhaustion?
guidance on waves?
This is a straight roll because Waves would do. Yeah, because it's an ability check. I mean, so in fairness, like.
Okay, can I use my mimicry ability? Because my mimicry ability says you can mimic sounds you have heard. A creature can tell these sounds are imitations with an insight check opposed by your deception check.
Oh yeah, no, you can definitely do that. This is part of right. That's basically what you're doing. So
Yes, that's what I'm doing.
So go ahead and
So
make your deception check.
Deception at advantage, yes?
Yeah.
And I get, what does the guidance give me, Saber?
1d4. I think just to one of those,
Okay.
though.
By the way, in D&D 1, guidance becomes a reaction.
Okay, so I'm going to
Isn't that
make
nice?
the roll and then add the 1d4, okay?
It may as well be. People use just
Yeah, I
every-
know,
guidance,
I know.
guidance.
But technically, that means you don't ex post facto it anymore, right? Like, you know, it happens. And
Is a 15 plus a 1d4?
let's find out.
It's 18.
So you hear this, but as the terrible sound of Thousand Teeth kind of echoes across the swamp, as that echoes across the swamp, the eyes sort of recede and they kind of shrink back, and your party sort of exhausted, pushing on, and you are almost back to the door when emerging from the door from which you left is an armed lizard folk war party, and Queen Othakent is at its front, and Soriv, the shaman, is right behind her. And as she comes out, she sees you and stops and holds up a hand. And the lizard folk there were like at least 40 that just came out from behind her. And the first thing they see actually is probably the head. And they sort of, or actually no, because you then let it go and dragged it. So they see you all first. And Othaken is kind of staring, and Soriv kind of steps up and, what has happened? What have you accomplished?
Well, we found Thousand Teeth, and then I'm gonna kind of like exhaustedly, just trying to hoik it up in front of us and present it.
And as you all sort of part the ways, I guess, like the way you're describing, and the head is visible, there is this hiss that sort of surrounds you, it almost feels like, from all of the lizard folk. It is a hiss that is mixed of astonishment and shock, and then is turned into a roar of triumph. And the lizard folk, rattle their weapons, rattle their clubs against each other. Many of them, you note now, have also wooden shields, and some of them now you see have donned leather armor, something you did not see a lot of them wearing before. And they are, a couple of them you think you might have noticed from your little run-in the training room a while ago. They're knocking their clubs against the shields, and Queen Othakent kind of puts up her hand, and she comes over and she looks down at the head of the beast, and she gazes at it for a long while, and then she looks at you all with her staring eyes, and she nods once, and then she turns and speaks to Soriv, and Soriv translates this. She speaks to the lizard folk, and she says, "The word will go forth. The alliance is strengthened. Thousand Teeth has been destroyed. My rule is what has made this happen, and you will follow my guidance now." And there's a great, beating of shields with weapons. A lot of people come over, clap you all on the back. Silvo, a couple practically knock you onto the ground. Brian, a couple sort of try to do, because they recognize you in the training room, they sort of try to do the, good warrior thing, except you're practically shoulder blocked because you're so tired, right? But they're just knocking into you and sort of that sort of thing. A few of you go over, they see Oceanus, your trident, and they kind of look over and they kind of nod at you with renewed respect as they see the tines that have been stained with the blood of Thousand Teeth. And waves, they come up to you as well. They look at your rapier, your obviously missing feathers, and things like that, and sort of look up and down. And Morthwill, they come up to you as well. One of them says, "I need a saw." No, I'm just kidding. They don't do that. just joking. They come up to you and they sort of nod at you, and they point at you and then point at Thousand Teeth's head. A couple of them, Like, I guess it's unclear, but they sort of point from you to the head and back again.
I just nod.
And then they clap you on the back. Apparently that's what they wanted to hear. And the queen continues. She says, "These creatures are worthy. Saltmarsh will join us. Now our time has come. With our allies, we will crush the accursed." Now, what she says is the lizard folk word for Sahugin. But what you, of course, in lizard folk hear it as, because Sarif stops translating at that point, you hear, and there is this horrible sound, I mean, horrible and like incredibly impressive sound of echoing. It echoes through the caves, it echoes through the swamps, it echoes all around you. You can feel the thrumming of it in your very feet. And maybe in the distance, Oceanus, as you turn around, maybe you can just see in the distance behind you the last couple of yellow eyes that you had seen wink out. The queen says, "You must return." Is that translated by Sarif? "You must return to Saltmarsh. Tell them we are allies. We must now move against the Sahugin. It is time for war." And it's also time for us to bring a wonderful year of Saltmarsh to a close. Yay, you beat the big crocodile. You did leave the boat. Good work, folks. That was a tough little fight. Followed up by some interesting things I hadn't expected to see during rests, including crocodile heads sawing and digging for gold in poison ponds. But it was great fun to see. And now, of course, what the party has to look forward to is got to go back to Saltmarsh now, convince the council that it's a good idea to be doing this alliance, and then they got to go do it, and who knows what happens then. But at least for the moment, the crocodile has been vanquished. I'll start at the bottom with Fleos. Fleos, I know we talked about the fact you were feeling under the weather. I apologize for the multiple descriptions of poisoned things. That probably didn't help. Now that I think of it, I'm sorry. But it was, listen, Oceanus was freaking on point combat-wise. I mean, you said last time that you really enjoyed the fighting part. Well, you got a lot of combat in. I mean, like, and you crit like twice in a row, and you had like an important narrative things too. Like the reason he drove you under the water is he's like, this dude's got to stop hitting me for 1 billion points of damage. They all were hitting, like all of you hit the crocodile at various points, but this was one of the ones that was doing clearly the most. It was probably between you and Waves for that sort of honor. And so, dragging you beneath the water was like the thing it could do. But again, you were helped a little bit by the fact you could breathe underwater, and that helped too. So now the Sea Elves, I guess, are a part of this alliance too, such as you were the diplomat for them to speak on their behalf. How did you feel about the session today? Where will the fine folks see you next, Flays?
Well, yeah, I had so much fun. I do love combat. I love the tactical combat, and the fact that the dice rolls actually went my way today was
sure
fantastic.
Did. Yep.
So
be careful. There will be a combat where they won't.
Well, that gives and it takes. But no, I had a lot of fun. It was really great that we were able to kind of do the whole fight and make our way back.
Yeah.
To kind of make a natural breaking point. I'm assuming Oceanus now is going to go back to the CLs to say, "Oh, hey, I made an alliance. I don't know if I have
okay?
the authority, but
yeah,
sorry, Dad," kind of thing. But this is happening, and yeah, it was. It was great, Arv. It was great to be able to be here for a whole quarter of the year.
It was great.
Sessions this year. It was amazing, and so I really appreciate everything you do. I have a lot of fun doing the podcast. It's just great listening to the old stories, and so being able to be part of the new story is really, really good for me. And so thank you, and Happy New Year, Merry Christmas, Happy Holidays, etc.
Happy New Year, Merry Christmas, Happy Holidays. Feel better, my friend. And yes, I agree. It's been great to have you as part of that, and hopefully, maybe it'll be able to sequence up with different breaks, and we can get you in a few times next year. We'll play it by ear as usual, but there's a open invite. I'd say this is much more a recurring guest role than it is like a once in a blue moon. You know, we'll try to get you in as much as we can, obviously, and hopefully OCI. Oh, and did I mention, by the way, that you're all level 4 now? I think I need to mention that part. Yeah, you are level 4. Technically, it's not supposed to happen until you get back to town, but close enough. So level 4, level 4. So, yeah, but great stuff, Fleos. And again, and thank you also for, I know, I'm glad that you get joy out of doing the podcast. I really enjoy listening to it. And I'm hoping that people, watching this and elsewhere will listen to it and be like, wow, that's amazing. Because there's lots of content in that campaign. I'll tell you what, there's a lot of hours. So, and Fleos has done a really good job of putting it together. So thank you, Fleos, and happy holidays again. Ananda, Brian, listen, Brian had also a quite eventful session, not just because of the combat situation, with things like, shooting it in the eye multiple times, no problem with disadvantage, like what even is disadvantage? So there was that. But then also you had the health potion, which was, I think, a big deal because Waves still needed to stay in that fight for a little while longer. And then, obviously, the sawing the alligator at the crocodile's head at, great personal cost. There was a lot to that. So you had a lot going on, and it was impressive to see. And it'll be curious, I think, to see how Brian handles things going forward. And also, this is something where these levels of exhaustion are things that take a little while to recover from, and you'll need to sort of think about playing that out. But what choice did you have? You had a certain time frame, and you completed it just. But Brian was definitely a big part of making that happen. How did you feel about the session today, as I always ask, and where will the folks find you next?
I had an absolute blast, as I always do when we play D&D over here. It's so much fun, and it's great that Fleos was able to join again today. Really looking forward to him coming back more next year. But yeah, it seemed like a fitting end to the campaign for this year. Obviously, we're carrying on in the new year, but the big crocodile fight, I think that's possibly one of our most successful fights, in respect that no one died. No one had to be revived.
10 hit points doing some work.
During the fight, anyway.
During the fight.
Yeah, exactly.
I did put the caveat in.
During.
A jeweled cutlass, though, was too much for an unused jeweled cutlass for Silva to resist.
Absolutely. But yeah, I had an absolute blast, and we managed to get back successfully, which was great. Where are people going to find me? I'll be over on my own channel for the rest of this week. I'm having a bit of a chill week, playing some Skyrim, but I also will be throwing in some Dark Souls 3 as well. Yeah, so looking forward to that. But once again, like, happy holidays and Merry Christmas and all that kind of thing. And thanks again for inviting me to be part of this campaign. I still feel like a noob, even though we've been doing this for 18 months.
Yeah, it's true. 18 months, man. But yeah, it's been that long. But yeah, no, I think you're beyond the noob stage at this point. I don't think anyone in this group is in the noob stage at all. But it's been a pleasure to have you as part of this, Ananda. And yeah, it was, as it was a jeweled cutlass of crocodile neck cutting, so no big deal. It just would have no. But Pixelated Geek, by the way, said when you were saying that, I don't know if I can wait until next year. Now I know Pixelated Geek that you were joking probably, but because it's next week. But there may be a sentiment. I know my players never want to wait until the next session, and I experience the same feeling. So that's because the players are great. So thank you, Ananda. Good play today. Happy holidays and so on. And I will see you in the new year as well. That leads us to Peripheral Mike. Silvo with a very eventful combat. We had some Dissonant Whispers, which did work, right? No.
Yes.
Yeah,
that did work. Yeah, that did work.
We had that.
We had the
flaming Firebolt, which didn't work as well.
But set fire to his crossbow.
Yes, it did a lot of damage to the cross. That crossbow will never bother anyone again.
Yeah.
So it was that. And then we had Silvo attempting to destroy himself for the benefit of this thing. Which I mean, listen, it was
say
fine.
just putting his safety on the line for the sake of coin is part of Silvo's sort of ethos at this point. He
That's
spent
true.
long enough just finding shiny bits. I mean, when he first got to Saltmarsh, he was a bit proud. He didn't want to, go digging through rubbish to find, coins or gems or anything, trinkets basically that he could sell to the nearest buyer. But you live on the streets of Saltmarsh for a few weeks and your standards get a bit lower. And Silvo's been out there for about a year or so, so he's got no problem doing this and doing the rounds of Saltmarsh and going to the various different buildings and the docks and stuff like that, and just finding the disused bits that people throw away can make him a tidy profit. He didn't realise that there was going to be quite so much poisonous material within that kind of the lure of the shiny. As anyone who watches my streams will understand, it's the greed that gets me, and it's the greed that gets Silvo as well. So that will eventually kill him in the end. It will be the greed, and it nearly did this time as well. And we're going to have an interesting conversation next year.
I was wondering about that. Yeah.
So there are elements of Silvo's backstory that if I leave them, and I kind of did this with the characters as well, if I leave them to be discovered naturally, they'll probably not get discovered. So I'm just like, oh, here's a good segue. Now that whole poisoning bit happened kind of by accident, but I'm like, you know what, I could probably use this bit. So there's going to be a conversation with Morthwheel and potentially others as well. But I thoroughly enjoyed this session. It feels like a million years since we've played D&D. It really does, but it's only been a few weeks. But like I said, it feels like years since I've actually sat in this chair playing D&D with you wonderful, wonderful people. But I just want to say, I've said this privately in Discord, honestly, you all mean the world to me. You are extended family, first and foremost, and I have cherished every single session of this, Talisman, any sessions that I catch, even if I'm not part of it, sessions that I catch that you run, Adventures in Middle-earth, Eberron, all that sort of stuff, you are an amazing game master. And even when you're not, you personally are, even when you're not doing D&D games, pen and pixel games, when you're just playing games, like you were playing with Road Warden, you played some other games that I've watched recently, it's really just, you get people interested in the narrative and the story, and you engage with people and you do voices and all that sort of stuff, and you make it feel like the minute you tune in, you've known you for years. Like you've got that really friendly kind of attitude, and I don't know, there's something really special about it.
Thanks, man.
And that being said, there's something really special about this entire group and the whole dynamic and everyone we play with, and I've absolutely adored this year. Here's to many more years to come, you wonderful, wonderful lunatics. I love it.
Thank you, Mike. And in accordance with that, Dragonspear has just gifted 5 subs to GOG.com's community. So thank you, Dragonspear.
Thanks,
Dragonspear continuing to prove that a quote-unquote troll can be incredibly generous, which is what Dragon always is. So thank you, Dragon, and welcome everybody who came in. Thank you for the support here on GOG, too. And Dr. Hackenbush has gifted a sub back to Dragonspear. The gifts are coming. GOG is getting a surge of... I love it. Thank you, Mike. As I've said many times, I'm really looking forward to getting a chance to meet you in person. That same goes for all of you. But I've known Mike for not quite the longest. I'm trying to remember if I would have... Because it was Pyron Saber and Mike that I knew... and Fleos around the same time, but I'm trying to think if it was Mike at all earlier. Well, I was playing, because I think I started playing D&D with you, Mike, slightly before I started doing D&D on this channel, I think, with everybody else, but not 100% sure.
No, I think
Maybe
not.
not.
I think I joined just afterwards. So everyone, I believe the others joined for...
on this channel, but yeah, okay, well, maybe that's why, because of the ARFCons.
But
Okay,
then
yeah.
I joined the Infinity and Beyond crew for Rise of Tiamat.
Right, because I know that you came in later in the GOG campaign, but I was thinking about the fact that you played that on my campaign, and I know on my own channel, and I know that Saber and Pyron had not done that. But yeah,
no,
I think,
I just have that personality. You just feel like you know me forever.
No, I know all of you, but no, genuinely, Mike is one of the nicest people, seriously, that you'll ever meet. Just a genuine good guy. So thank you. Happy holidays, Merry Christmas, et cetera, Happy New Year, and thank you, my friend. I look forward to seeing what the new year brings. Moving right, and thanks for the kind words. I appreciate those. Moving up the line to the amazing Dark Saber 2K. Saber, sort of a fitting post-birthday. You know, I know that there's always a little bit of a letdown after that because you got Christmas, birthday, and then, but now you got a croc fight. Like this was now you've got the letdown to worry about. No, and listen, Morthwheel had several, the Fairy Fire, you're right. You did think of that around late. And at that point, the thing was doing its whole "I'm a submarine," act, and that made it more difficult. But regardless, it could have worked if you had guessed the right quadrant. It was just sort of luck by that point because the perception check didn't work. Whatever. The point is, though, the shield toad was hugely important. And that allowed you to continue to do these other things. And I loved even the description of the gadget of the Fairy Fire. So you really see Morthwheel starting to open up. What I'm also looking forward to now is seeing what Morthwheel's reaction will be. And again, this is what you choose to or not to do is completely up to you, as you know. I'm just interested to see if there's going to be a reaction from Morthwheel. Like, is Morthwheel getting back? Because I imagine Morthwheel's going to be like, first of all, politics, and I know how much Morthwheel loves that. Secondly, you have to deal with the freaking, like, what the hell is Silvo doing again? Like, all of that stuff, I imagine, is going to be sort of competing for space in Morthwheel's head. So I'm really looking forward not just to see all the cool new gadgets you can make at level 4 or whatever, but also to find out what Morthwheel's going to think about in terms of this whole alliance and about Saltmarsh and what their role in it should be. So I'm excited also to see what happens in the future. And you obviously had a big role tonight. How did and the thing with the saw was. I was dying. I knew it wasn't that big a deal because you could just make another one. But the image of a craftsman listening, going, why would you, just don't, oh man, was really cracking me up. How did you feel about the session today? And as I always ask, where will people find you next?
It was a lot of fun, a real lot of fun. Both the combat and post-combat sections, both good in their own ways. Like Flavor said, the good thing about the combat is all like the tactical side of it. And I was really kicking myself because I looked at my spell list and it's like Fairy Fire. Oh no, I should have used that.
Yeah.
But also the fun thing with the Artificer is, all their magic is basically gadgets. Like other classes are like, I cast this spell and that spell happens. Whereas an Artificer, it's like, well, they don't just cast the magic, they channel it through gadgets. So it's a lot of fun going like, well, what form would this gadget take?
Yeah.
So Morthal's basically invented a flare gun for Fairy Fire now. Which is apparently a thing.
I loved Brian's thing about like, ooh, it's like the violet light is coming down from his thing.
Mm-hmm.
I love that.
I actually did like, even if it didn't work, but playing basically battleships with Thousand Teeth as well.
I hadn't even thought about that. H5 hit. No, you sank my tail. Yeah.
And I was really, really pleased with how the shield toad worked out. I figured it probably would be like that. It's like, again, it was one of those where I was going over the rules and cross-referencing, going, does this work the way I think it's going to work? Because that's amazing.
Well, you know what else helped you there? Your melee fighters held the line. I mean, like if because the truth is, it's not going to shoot its teeth at you. Like, it's a melee creature, right? If you stay in the lake and you got a row of people between you and it, then I mean, you can just keep doing that. If it were super tactical and all that, or if it had minions that were like coming around behind you, then you'd have a problem, because then like you can't defend yourself and deal. And so that's going to be a concern when you're facing not crocodile, even ancient crocodile level intelligence. But this was a perfect setup for what you did, I think. So
well, a lot of fighters have they've got a lot of tools they can cope with a lot of different situations. Some of it, like, you have to prepare for ahead of time, like with which Eldritch Cannon do I deploy, and hope you've picked one suitable for the encounter.
Yeah.
Because otherwise you're stuck with that for then.
Yeah.
You can't undo that. And then you got different spells. Have you prepared the right spells? You don't know.
Right.
So it can be a bit of a toss-up. Like, next time I might be more tanky. I might be getting stuck in with a shield and trying to draw attention, or might be something else coming out of the bag. We don't know. That's the fun of the class. But yeah, generally just had an absolute blast. Well, I always do, because this is such a warm and fun group to play with, both groups, and all the sessions that I've done, for years now. It's just been
Yeah.
so much fun, and I love that we goof around in the chat as well. Like someone's taking their turn, and we're just cracking jokes about how the player's gonna mess it up, and all of that, and chat's getting involved. It's a lot of fun, a lot of fun, and I always do enjoy it. And I'm looking forward to seeing what next year brings for the party, both here and in Talisman Adventures.
Yep, both
as
of
for
those things.
me-
You got a big thing. Yeah, and we don't have to go into it now, but Talisman Adventures, Reginald has got some stuff to worry about where you're going to the sepulcher. So yeah.
Yes. And I was being insufferable with that in Talisman last Friday, and to know that town's called Villadoc. It's not called the town. It's not the graveyard anymore. It's Sepulchre.
It's the sepulcher. Yep.
But as for me, I will be back here tomorrow, right here on the GOG channel. Not entirely sure what I'm going to be playing, but I've kind of had an inkling to play some of the Blade Runner adventure game, because it's been quite a while since I checked that out, and I was watching a couple of videos about it, and I was like, yeah, I feel like that. So I think it might be that, but not 100% sure. And I'll be back on my channel on Thursday with probably more Dwarf Fortress, the way things have been lately. That is a heck of a rabbit hole to go down.
I've heard rumors, yeah. No, that's awesome. Well, I actually did the release stream of Blade Runner here some time ago. So, good game. That would be fun to be able to watch. But thank you, Saber. Also, again, thanks for the whole year's worth of Moobot and Dashboard, which I always say. Happy belated birthday,
right?
and yeah, absolutely. But again, thank you, my friend, and we will see you in the new year as well. And last but certainly not least, of course, good friend and fearless stream team leader and complete Star Wars knowledge aficionado, Pyron Jade. Pyron, this was great fun as always. And Waves, when the first time, its bite is so powerful that the first time you get that and everyone's like, I saw it in chat, everyone's like, oh, wow. Like, it was like, and everyone was just kind of like, well, that was a bird once. And like, because it felt like, what are you going to do? Like, how do you even, but you hung in there. And of course, with the other teamwork that we described, it ended up, working out. But Waves did not waver despite obvious, fear and doubt and distress. I love the idea of crying like an eagle with the heroism thing, which I think was important. It was all a little bit, but it was enough to kind of keep things going. And then obviously you had a couple of major strikes with the rapier, especially that last one, the one where you obviously struck the killing blow, and before that, it hit it with the charged thing too. But when you came over and struck down, and you did get the battleship call right. That was quite a moment. So Waves had a lot that you were able to do, and I was really impressed to see that. And I'm also going to be interested to see how Waves thinks about Silvo hanging on to things down the line. And it was up to Waves to kind of at that point take the lead, because Brian was just like exhausted and you were just like, you did one of the soundboard, like, shut up, and, started moving. It was pretty fun. So an eventful session for Waves, and I can't wait to see what Waves does next. How did you feel about the session today? If you have any thoughts about the year, you can certainly bring those up too. And where will the folks find you next?
Thoughts about the year, I think that would go a little too far. But
well, the year for the camp, for us, I guess I meant specifically.
Okay, yeah. Seriously, we just had this look back where Flayos find out when we first played, and I think it was something like 6 years ago, right, Flayos? And so I could continue for another 6 years, please. Thank you. And because this is my happy place. I'm always, Ebenezer already knows, like, when I'm playing him, I was like, tomorrow I've got roleplay. Just tomorrow there's roleplay. So I'm always looking forward to the sessions, and I'm always much more happy that going out than I was already going in, when I was already like being like excited and everything. And I really like today. So yeah, did we leave our boat in the swamp? Was that our boat?
Not anymore.
Oh no, I lost my boat.
That was that we followed. Thank you for the follow, Azer Reformed. That little sound came right after I said this, like, not anymore. Ding! It's like, God damn it. Thank you for the sub, Mikios. 66 months just saying, welcome back to the GOG community. I'm pretty sure. Actually, wait a minute though. I may be wrong. That was a boat that was given to you.
Was it? Yes.
I don't remember if it was given to you or not because it came from the lair. No, it had to be your boat because
It was our boat.
you came that side. Yeah.
Oh,
You can go
I
back
lost
for it.
my boat.
That wasn't our
Oh.
main boat that we sailed here on, though. That was like a
Was it
rowboat.
No,
not?
because we had a crew on that boat.
There
Oh
was
yeah,
two
no, it's not
parts
that
of the
boat. Yeah, no,
Yeah,
it's not.
no.
It's not the crude boat. No.
Oh, that's okay then. We
Yeah.
can still return to Saltmarsh on the. Yeah, that's
Yeah.
the mini boat. That's fine.
Yeah,
Exactly.
the ship is still ours. Oh man, yeah, no, that boat's
Oh.
that boat's fine.
Okay, because I was a bit anxious about that, but still, then everything is fine. We're gonna get through this, and yeah. So I just would like to point out that tomorrow we've got a special staff stream on here. My boss at GOG, Chandra, is going to be here and playing Disco Elysium, cosplaying as Kim Kitsuragi.
Ooh, wow.
Yes, we also have a video of her in Kim Kitsuragi cosplay doing the dance. And I'll see that we can upload this to Twitter somehow.
Wow.
Flay was already working on that. So please check our public schedule, !schedule in chat, which will convert to your local time zone automatically. And then there should be a blue staff stream of Chandra playing Disco Elysium, and I think that's going to be pretty cool. Disco Elysium is already a great game, so there's that. And when will people see me next? Well, sometimes on Saber's channel for a multiplayer. Otherwise, of course, for the next RPG session on here. And yeah, the rest is still up in the air.
All right. Good stuff. Well, thank you also, Pyron, for the hard work that you did to communicate stuff to the powers that be at GOG. And also, we do want to thank GOG again for their support of this initiative and the support of the project and that sort of thing. And I'll just close because we've run over, but I will just close by thanking the players, all friends, all good players. I also want to thank Undeveloped Bruce, who's on the Talisman Adventures stream as well. It's been a real joy to be able to GM this crew. I'm very lucky, given how much trouble people have keeping groups of players together, that through the power of the internet, I've been able to do that with a number of groups of players on my channel on here who are all great in their own way. But I agree with Saber that I love the warmth and kind of just good humor and fun that everyone in this group has. And I love the sort of collective work together. And I feel like the chat really appreciates it all the time. All of those things of people being like, I had to, stop matting my pictures because I was laughing too hard, and like, this was really great. And, it's been such a joy, Friendly Kid and Sid, to do this. So we really appreciate you, Chad, and we're really glad that you support us in this way, and you hope you continue. But I also want to send a shout out to a wonderful group of players. And I will just point out to the other powers beyond GOG that Wizards, this is your product, and these are pretty good players. If you would like to see more of this sort of thing represented in other ways, you could get in contact with us, because we could, perhaps talk more about spreading the reach of this show even further, because the players are worth it regardless. Even if no one was watching, it would be a joy, though, to play with these friends. It's a great game, and a great game because we're playing it with great people. And so, with very, very, very highest and happiest holiday wishes, Merry Christmases, Hanukkahs, Kwanzas, Festivuses, thank you to everybody. Everyone stay healthy and safe. I can't wait to see you next year. Chat, can we get some love for Pyron J, Darksaber2K, Peripheral Mike, Inanda, and Fleos on this cold winter's night, as they say. A little bit of warmth to light the holiday season. Thank you, players, and I'll see you in 2023.
Thank you so
All right.
much.
Bye, everyone. See you
Cheers.
next
Thanks,
year.
everyone.
Or tomorrow.
Take care.
Bye.
See you next year.
Bye.
And that, chat, is going to do it for us. That is the final tabletop session of that's the final tabletop session here on GOG.com. And yeah, boy, it's been quite a ride, right? There has been a whole lot that happened over the course of the past year, but it really has been a great privilege to do this. And I would be remiss if I did not also thank Pegasus Spiele for their sponsorship of our Talisman Adventures game, and of course to thank GOG for their sponsorship, their support of that, but also their sponsorship of their sponsorship of the Talisman Adventures game, and their support of this particular project with Ghosts of Saltmarsh. So that's been great, and I am very excited to be able to do more of it in the year to come. It is my favorite. My absolute favorite game, and the reason that it's my favorite game is because I've never found a game that so perfectly encapsulates the ability to tell stories, and that does so in a way that all the stories seem to be equally memorable, I guess I would say. And they're just wonderful stories. And in this last 3 weeks, I have had an epic boss fight finish, as I told you all, against one of the big bads, ending season 2 of my epic long Eberron campaign on my channel. The series ending, for the moment anyway, finale of the Adventures of Middle-earth campaign with the slaying of a dragon. Shire Adventures coming up soon. And then the slaying of a huge crocodile and the conclusion of Danger at Dunwater as part of the Ghosts of Saltmarsh campaign here. Not to mention the ending of an adventure we at least did one, if not 2 parts of that campaign in Talisman Adventures. So we had a lot of epic finishes over the last few months, and that was a great experience to be a part of, and it was great to have you folks as a part of it. And last chat, I want to give some extra love to all of you, not just for that, but for your support of me on my channel, and of course, for your support of me right here at GOG.com. We really appreciate the support that you give this channel. We are all a group of volunteers. We do get paid a little bit from sub money and things like that you're sent that eventually gets our way. But and we obviously get games from this, and that's a significant thing too that I don't want to undermine. But really, we're doing it mostly for the love of games, and because we want to, because of the love of community, at least in my case, and I would say pretty much everyone in the GOG team feels the same way about the love of community, and you folks are what make that happen. So I really appreciate that extended community feel that you have on GOG.com, and so I'm super grateful also to you, and I hope as you go forward, if you laughed today, if you winced today in pain sympathetically as one of the party members was hit, if you sort of took a moment to kind of, be thoughtful about something which seemed more serious, if you felt an urge to cheer, if you felt moved by this in some way, I will hope you will take that sense of emotional movement, whatever it was, and take it with you. It is a gift, I think, in a time that feels too cynical at times, that feels too pat, that feels too hit with the one-liner and then get out quickly, where everything is another series of Marvel one-liners. Sometimes that gets, in fact, most of the time, it gets old really quickly. And it's nice to be able to feel like you can really celebrate storytelling and genuine laughter as a community without having to look at everything as being like, ha ha ha, let me be sarcastic and undermine that, because God forbid that I admit to anyone that I'm feeling something. You should admit that you're feeling something. Most humans do. And it's nice to know that we can, as humans, remind ourselves that we feel things together. And so in that spirit, I hope you will take, thank you, Friendly Kitten. I appreciate that. Take that. I hope you will take that and go forward into the new year and use that as something to inspire you. Reach out to people in your local communities. Reach out to people in your direct families. Reach out to people around you who need help, who feel like they're disconnected or separated from the world. See what you can do to bring them back in. We grow stronger when we work together. And that idea of community and coming together that's the thing that we're always told is not going to happen, that we won't hold together, that we're all selfish individuals. It's a lie. It's always been a lie. None of us would be here if not for the fact that we worked together to get here. And that means we need to continue to work together going forward. So give your family some kisses and hugs. Hold on to them. Make sure that you give your friends a call. Get together with them. Make sure you take some time to be peaceful and gentle and loving to yourself as well. And may the warmth of this experience be something which kind of encompasses you as you go forward into the new season. I will be back here on this channel in 2023. Next year, probably with some Road Warden, although I'm not 100% sure. And then, of course, we'll be back into Talisman Adventures and more Ghosts of Saltmarsh. I will also be on my channel a fair bit over the next couple of days streaming because I'm basically in isolation, still recovering from COVID. So I don't have a lot to do other than, I mean, always have things to do theoretically, but I don't have a lot of things I want to do right now other than continue to edit my novel and my novel so I can get my edits back to my editor to get that done, and also to stream. So I'm going to be back tonight on my channel with some No One Lives Forever, the first one. I'm going to be doing some more of that tonight, probably starting at about 9, I'm guessing, 8:45 to 9, so about 45 minutes to an hour from now. I'll probably be streaming some tomorrow, maybe Thursday, I'm not 100% sure. I'll definitely be on my channel Friday night as well, where I will be streaming with my Game of the Year show. So I will be listing all of my games in reverse order that I played this year on and off stream, and I'll be ranking them, and we'll have a chance to talk about them. So that will be as well also. But yeah, so there's that. And no joy allowed. Always look at the bright side of a city. That's it. It's a shitty situation. I don't get to spend time with my family directly, which is not what I want to be not having the chance to do at Christmas time. But I get to stream a lot, and I will get to spend time with them. And I mean, it's not like I've not seen them at all. I just, I have to mask and have to be careful and not do too much and all that stuff. But I'm getting, it's fine. We'll get there. It'll be all good. But in the meantime, so I'm going to be back on my own channel. And as far as this channel's programming is concerned, I think... Thank you, Knit1Play. I appreciate it. Let's see. So Fleos is playing some Soldier of Fortune Platinum Edition in 2 hours. So you will not want to miss that. You will definitely want to see Fleos playing some Soldier of Fortune in a couple of hours as well. So stop by my channel in about an hour or so and watch some No One Lives Forever. And then you can watch an actual good shooter after that. I'm just kidding, Dragon Spear. No, he loves No One Lives Forever, so I'm just teasing him. And that's going to be that. But thank you, Dragon Spear, for your generosity today, by the way. Thank you to Sir Quackenbush for your generosity. Thank you to everyone who gifted subs to everybody today in here. Thank you so much. And thank you to everyone who watched Pen and Pixels all year. We hit 350 this year, 356 episodes after tonight. That's a lot of episodes, y'all. That's a lot of years streaming on this channel. I started streaming on my own, but I've been streaming on GOG a good long time as well, and I consider you kind of my extended Twitch family, beyond my own channel's Twitch family, of course, but you're sort of my extended Twitch family, and I always appreciate that a great deal. So I'll have a lot more to talk about and say on my own channel about sort of summarizing the year, but thank you for everyone on GOG for your support here. I hope you had a good time as we told stories all year, and more stories to come next year as well. Otherwise, though, I'm going to go get out of here, get some dinner, get prepped for a later stream on my own channel. I want to thank my wonderful players who I've mentioned already before, all of the ones you saw tonight and on Talisman Adventures, of course. And I thought, again, want to thank all of you. That's going to do it. I will see you folks either on my channel or next year back here for some more Pen and Pixels. And of course, you can watch Fleos here in a couple hours playing some Soldier of Fortune. Again, Merry Christmas, Happy Hanukkah, Happy Kwanzaa, Happy Festivus, Happy New Year, Happy Holidays, everyone, and the love of the season to you and yours. And I'll catch you all soon. Bye.